Here we are, once more playing some Dune. Wow, Dunizens, as we've decided to call it. Yes. So welcome back. I see in front of me the front of house envoy Blake Smurk, the cool, calm, collected Mentat Tiran Corrado, the enigmatic, charismatic Sergeant Brava Marlo, and the steely infiltrator William Turosh. At least he's kind of faded into the background because that's what he does.
Yeah. Wonderfully.
And so we return to Ecstasy, where in the House of Obscura, this minor house, we started to meet the significant members of the house, get more of a sense of what the house is about, and whilst you are doing that and hopefully enjoying doing that, boosh, a mission has landed, an opportunity has landed at your feet. The Ambassador Irulan, in an unprecedented act of relative informality, gathered you together in one of the meeting rooms normally set aside for little chats with potential customers, and there you found yourself in front of the Contessa, and then later the Spymaster Veritas, learning that you were to be the hosts, the architects of an exhibition of imperially commissioned art, Arakeen art nonetheless, and to meet the needs of the artist in residence, Talia. And I think we left it last where you had spoken to her at length and tried to gather as much information as possible about her and the people on the guest list that she knew of. So, is there is now the potential for any scene that you would like to insert here? Otherwise, there's the clock is ticking. The exhibition is tomorrow evening. The Emperor has yet to arrive in his vessel, but you are well aware that elsewhere on Ecstasy, the arrangements for his arrival of his ship are well underway. The only thing on the agenda is that Talia wishes to see at the earliest opportunity the exhibition space and talk through how the art is to be curated. If there's anything else you would like to do beforehand, now's the time.
Were we still trying to get some dirt on the Stalker, who I've got written down as two names? One of them must be wrong. Drellpier? That can't be right. In brackets, rubbish art.
Well,
that's the other artist, isn't it?
That's right.
The other artist who will.
Right. Yeah. He's her rival.
Rival, yes.
Although she doesn't really see him as that, not from an artistic point of view. I guess the person you're really thinking of would be the scion Anna Vissarion of the House Vissarion, which is a minor house that serves the Emperor's house.
That's the one.
She's the one who is besotted both with Talia and her work and finds it difficult to disentangle one from the other. All you really knew was that Talia found her to be a massive bother, but also incredibly difficult to say no to because of her status, even though she's in a crumbling minor house that was once a major one. She nevertheless is in a house that sort of is closely linked to the Emperor and the Imperial Court. Beyond that, didn't really learn much more, so yes, there's an opportunity to learn more, and we could do something about that.
Remind me, who is Steve Pralin Rotan?
there two? There are two people there. There's Marcus Trarlin and Sarah Roshan, I think you mean. Two
Okay.
house mages who um, are in Canley with each other.
Oh, okay. Oh, and that's who might end up kicking off at each other
Yeah.
and making a shambles of the. Yeah, so we wanted to try and sort of keep those separated if we could.
Yes, you realise that they are a security threat, and you imagine that would come under the auspices of your security detail. Yeah, Sergeant Marlowe. That's his problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm most concerned about. Is them. They're supposed to, by the orders of Canley and the articles of this sort of formalized revenge and vendetta against each other, they're not supposed to involve innocent bystanders. And we could try to make I wanted to have a scene with the Mentat and maybe have is there a legal claim we can make where this entire exhibition falls under that, and any kind of attempt at Canley could violate those rules and make them kind of keep the kibosh on things. Does that make sense?
Oh, cool, yeah.
Am I expressing does that make sense?
I get you. I get you.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Does the presence of the Emperor mean that you're not allowed to Canley, like, while he's there?
That's a good question. I don't know if they have a specific rule set. I know that they're not allowed to involve innocent bystanders, but I don't know about the who it's. We could basically mark the whole exhibition as
like an innocent bystander's place.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
Where no one's allowed.
There's a specific legal term. I think it's I've heard Brava has heard of it, called Canley Omisia. Basically, Imperial emissaries, house ambassadors normally enjoy diplomatic immunity from Canley, but we could try, because of the presence of the Emperor, we could extend Canley Omisia to the entire exhibition and all within it. And I wonder if there's a legal precedent for that, or we could try to see if that is something we could angle towards.
Certainly, the answer from my point of view is yes. You can explore that. You certainly know that if they were to break out into a duel, or if there was some tension, if there was a conflict and challenge between them, it wouldn't look good on you as a house, at the very least. But if you want to have a scene with yourselves where you try and investigate that, or if you want to have and you can always bring in any of the other sort of like house members, you might want to consult with Veritas maybe, or the Scholar, because he's
maybe. Do we have a legal advisor? I'm assuming I could make one. I could create one for the scene if you like. If you need a legal advisor, we could say, sure, this is
yes.
Yes. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Paint me a picture of
sure,
of a legal advisor.
Sure. Barada is a tall, thin, sort of androgynous being who doesn't have very much hair, doesn't have very much presence. You're not sure where the books start and he stops. He's always in his stacks of his legal, whether it's Shiga wire reels or tiny little. He actually has physical books that they printed out, but he is always in the archives, always looking for some sort of legal precedent, always researching something. And he is the deep, sort of blue within blue eyes of spice addiction. He has been around and has served House Obscura for several generations at this point, and nobody's really sure if he's just installed with the place or he came with, or how many generations he goes back. But the spice addiction has helped him extend his life, and he does not wear the standard sort of contacts to hide his addiction like many royals do. They take a lot of spice to become addicted to it to extend their lives, but he doesn't bother. He has the blue eyes that mark spice addiction.
And so we see Barata in the house archives, sort of like right now. The camera sort of like pan into this space that's quite dimly illuminated. That there are many, the equivalent of bookshelves for those physical inscriptions of lore. His desk, I imagine, is a sort of a sea of flimsies and paperworks and readers, and his Comnet sort of like interface, and it has a messy sort of like feel, and this thin androgynous individual who's dressed as he pleases, not in the house colours, but that makes him comfortable. Almost like he's wearing maybe an incarnation of the house uniform or house robes from so long ago that they no longer really sort of adhere to the current vogue that Obscura has. So big question marks as to how long he has been around, as you alluded to. But he's poring over a number of old documents, and awaits your arrival.
Okay. Does anybody want to join me? I don't want to like take the whole.
Sure, I'll come in with. I think that's a good conversation to have.
With the Mintat, yeah, I would have thought for sure. So I'll try to, knock on the door, like, can we, Barata, may we disturb you for a moment?
He looks up from the mass of sort of like texts and peers at you and Marlo, is it? What?
Sergeant Marlo, yes, sir.
I think you'll find you've taken the wrong turn, Sergeant. The training rooms are on the floor above.
I understand, sir. Unfortunately, my current duties require your legal expertise, or at least a consult for your legal matters.
He leans back a little in his chair, taken aback slightly. Well, if you say so. And he looks and sees that your Mentat colleague is standing in the vicinity, and Corrado.
If yeah.
What brings you here? Explain yourselves.
This was Sergeant Marlo's brainchild, so I'll let her do the explaining.
Thank you.
If you will. And he goes back to looking at you, Marlo. Well, what is it then? He says.
I have heard of a specific form of legal protection for those nearby in a matter of Canley called Canley Omissia. I was wondering if you know of this precedent, and could it be applied to the exhibition being held here while the Emperor is present? Could that blanket of protection be extended to everyone here, thus negating the rules of Can, thus sort of protecting those. I'm trying to.
Perhaps protecting our house from the unseemly execution of a Canley-related vendetta.
Or even the attempt. I don't want there to be, any kind of assassination attempts. I want them to understand from the get-go that this exhibition is off limits.
Of course.
Has there ever been such a precedent here?
I am familiar with with that part of the legal aspect of Candy and Vendetta. I believe it has been some time since I've had to investigate the finer details, the ins and outs of this application. What you're asking in your clumsy way, Sergeant Marlowe, is not beyond the bounds of possibility. However, some research is required.
Thank you.
And he looks at you like, yeah, you get a sense that there is a definite sort of like a vibe that he's giving off to you.
I understand that I am way out of my depth, and then this is why I have come to you.
I think we need, I think we need a skill test, and certainly, you can rely on Barata to assist with that. I think being in the archive is in itself a trait which will lower the difficulty rating because of the sheer amount of knowledge accumulated. Barata himself will assist, but we need a skill test to dredge up the possibilities of this knowledge and this application.
Perhaps I can.
Yeah, I would love to defer to the Mentat for the role, and I'll help. Yeah.
As a Mentat, I can accelerate the research process.
I love that.
Fabulous. So, this is an understand skill, but what else do you want to bring to bear?
Perhaps my power motivation, the statement of which is without power, nothing can be done. Because we're trying to shut down other people's ability to access violent power.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that works well. Also, we didn't get a chance to ask. I mean, William, would you want to have been in this scene? And of course, Blake too. Yeah.
William could already be in this scene, and we just
wouldn't know it.
Didn't know.
No.
Right.
I think they're doing fine without me. I'm sure I'm busy fussing over something else.
Fair enough. William.
Besides, they introduced themselves earlier, so there's no point me even turning up.
Yeah, I'll be lurking, and then if I can do anything to help, I'd step in.
Okay.
I imagine William's always there. Like, I didn't even see you there.
Somewhere,
It's just always in the shadows, always there.
Yeah, it was like a butler passing by or something.
We didn't even know. Yeah.
Ooh.
Here.
Okay. Well, you haven't got a complication. I suppose that's the good news. And the difficulty rating is lowered by being in the archives. You do get an assist from Barata, so he can do a test for
And
that.
is there a way I can roll to help as well?
Yeah, you can do, but this is a fairly obscure, not obscure, but quite old application of this sort of like legal form.
Okay.
So I was about to say, it's a D3 lower to a D2. So we've got diddly squat so far. So if you want to help, go for it. How are you going to help?
Okay. I am going to try to roll the same understand with my, but I'd like to use my duty drive.
Yeah.
And I have a talent called unquestionable loyalty, which allows me to have a point of determination, which can be used on an action which is in direct service to House Obscura. I think this would qualify.
Okay. Yep. Does seem to fit the bill.
So I would like to use the point of determination and automatically roll it to a 1.
Ooh. Okay. You're going to burn a point of determination in order
I
to
would
get.
burn a point of determination for this to get 2 successes to.
I love it. So even before Barata has stepped in to assist you, how do you succeed? Because you've burnt determination. It's worth rolling just to see if you got any extra successes and for momentum purposes, I think.
Sure. I think on an assist though, I only get
Oh,
one
you only get
D20.
one.
I'm happy. I think, and that's why I wanted to use the determination to make it a 1.
So definitely,
Determination is an extra 1, right? Isn't it? Because if you roll 2 dice and use a determination, you roll the 2 and you get an extra crit for your determination point, right?
That's what I'm looking up the points right now.
I think it's
I'm
an
looking up the
automatic
exact
1 on
rules.
1 dice, which kind of makes it
I think
sound
it's just
like
an automatic 1 on the D20.
yeah, I think the rule you're thinking of applies to 2d20 Conan, but I don't think it applies to Dune. Yeah, okay. So we have a success. How do you manifest that? What do you do in order to get that to happen?
Right. Well, I had been up the night before researching this on the Communionets and talking with, and I hadn't really slept. Basically, I'd been up for several hours in order to find the Canly Amicia, but there hadn't been use of it in at least 200 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was the previous emperor had allowed it, and I don't know if it would. The current emperor Shaddam has never
ruled on it.
Has never permitted it. Yeah, so I don't know if it would be useful or not, but I know that it was his father Elrud. But
so what you know here, sort of like bottom line is, Barata seems somewhat surprised, maybe a tiny bit better disposed towards you, Brava, as he approves of your swatting the night before. Raises a bit of an eyebrow, but he says, I think that is a fair assessment. Wouldn't you agree, Tiran, that what we have here, that it is a possibility, but at present the Imperial Court has yet to test this?
And whether the Imperial Court would want to use it in a context where it may appear that it may make them appear worried or frightened is another complication.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. See, this is what I keep you around for. See?
The house does keep me fed.
Well, Barata says knowledge brings power, but doesn't necessarily bring wisdom. Now, is there anything else you require of me?
I believe that we've bothered him as much as we needed.
We've taken enough of your time, Barata. Thank you.
Only your forgiveness for having disturbed you.
And dare I ask what William has been doing the whole time this conversation has been going on. You've been lurking, as you say.
Yeah, I've just been hovering, watching, listening to what's going on.
And so, as I guess Brava and sort of like Tiran sort of make a discreet exit, you join them.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And you just see, Barata's eyes slide over you. Not entirely sure if he knew you were there or not, but he certainly registers you're departing. But he says nothing, just has thin lips, and goes back to whatever it was that he was doing before, which seemed to involve an awful lot of paperwork, but also some schematics laid over the desk.
Thank you for your help, Tiran. I appreciate the assist there.
I don't know if I was as helpful as I might have been, but I did try. And we got to the bottom of it.
And we got to the moral support more than anything else. I don't like standing, like I said, I face 3 men with swords, but standing against the legal representative, that room makes me nervous.
He is a bit of an austere individual.
And so, the camera follows you sort of like down the corridor to the elevator from the basement, which is where the archives sort of are sort of like situated, and you sort of like ride up in it sort of like together. Cue terrible elevator music, which will be very discreet, of course, but as you ride the elevator up, let's just sort of like focus over and see if we can catch Blake Smurk unawares and see what he's doing right now. I can tell you, Blake, you can be anywhere you want in the house, but right now you have to have Victor Rond with you. Where would you be?
Well, the thing that's preoccupying me at the moment is trying to get some leverage against this Stalker lady so that I can have a stern conversation with her. So, I mean, I was originally going to talk to William about getting some dirt.
Well,
the other option is I already have an illicit recording, so I could just say I've already got it, if you want to save some time.
No, I just wanted to have an opportunity for you to have a scene and to do something with Victor, because Gabriel, his player, can't be here right now, so when that happens, I discreetly write them into a background narrative until they come back. But you can talk to William when he gets out of the elevator. But you're wanting to dig up some more dirt on this stalker, princess stalker, almost, I suppose she is. So,
Historian?
Where would you be in the house?
If I'm talking to the pesky smuggler, it's probably in that cards room that we were talking about the last time, where you all play Old Maid or whatever.
The Dune equivalent of Old Maid, which probably involves some very discreet-looking hexagonal cards.
Yeah.
And tokens, triangular tokens, and hexagonal cards.
So they're playing double.
Basically, yeah, you got it. And sort of like, Victor seems quite preoccupied, and you find yourself winning the hand of cards quite easily. He's normally much more in tune to the game.
Victor,
yeah,
what's wrong with you? You've got a big job coming up. You've got pilots, important people around.
He just chucks his hand down, displaying the worst, most random collection of cards that does not make anything meaningful. Earns him nothing. He hasn't even got 2 pair. And, he sort of like just pushes the remainder of the tokens over to your side of the table, and sort of like leans back in his chair, and he says, I find myself in something of a dilemma. An opportunity that I've been waiting for. A score has come up. And yes, I know I'm on pilot duty, but I can't be in 2 places at once.
How is this score benefiting our house?
He smiles wryly and says, "Oh, it's for the house. Don't get me wrong. And I have been sitting on this for a long time. I believe it's going to put us in a position of considerable leverage against Barragan."
I have not heard of this opportunity.
That's because I've been working on it on using certain back channels, shall I say, he says. Nevertheless, it's finally come to fruition, and if I don't deal with it now and grasp it, I'm going to lose it. And the potential leverage on Barragan is just going to fade away. The problem is...
Well, I trust you've already cleared this with the Contessa, who's asked us to take on this mission.
This is where he puts
because I'm not going in there to tell her for you.
He has a shit-eating grin. Now, I mean, really, it doesn't need to go that far up the ladder. It only needs to go to Irulan, he says, and then he puts on another shit-eating grin. His eyes twinkle a bit.
Oh, well, I'll make sure I speak to Irulan as soon as possible.
And Victor says, that there's quite a few competent pilots here within the house. Doesn't have to be me.
Victor, you are quite disposable.
You just have such a smooth way of words. You always make people feel at their best. Smirk.
It's not my job to make you feel good. It's my job to ensure the house is in the best position.
Well, then when you speak to Irulan, you make sure to tell her that I will be securing assets that will put us in the best position when it comes to making sure that we don't have any inconveniences with House Barragan.
I'll make sure we don't get smacked down by the Emperor, who I believe is more powerful than House Barragan. I'm going to scoop all his money. I'll get ready to leave.
Yeah, he stands up and sort of leans over the table, and he says, "I'm glad we see eye to eye on this." And then he'll turn on his heel just as the others arrive. So that's if you wanted to go to the meeting room for a bit of downtime and find the others, or if you wanted to be somewhere else, then he will just swan out.
Nah, ignore the smuggler. I'll go to everyone else. Well, we've just lost our pilot.
I think William would have gone after Victor because, they probably I know something about this because we always have little sly jobs together and stuff.
Yeah, so you can catch him in the corridor, just sort of nip after him.
Yeah, I slope out past Smurk.
Yeah. And I mean, he's you can see he's got his outdoor jacket on, which has
bomber jacket.
Yeah, bomber jacket, which and it does have that little bit of heft under the arm, which tells you that he's going out. And he He says, "Hey kid,
Where are you going?
I've got one or two things to take care of, important things to take care of, you know. So you're just gonna have to, take care of things in the meantime. I can't be looking after you the whole time, you know."
Of course. Anything I can do while you're out?
I think maybe, just keep an eye on Smurk. Make sure he doesn't overstep his boundaries like he is prone to do. He can rub people up the wrong way with all his
No.
duty.
Sure. Right, I'll do that. When are you back?
Not sure. Not sure, but I will send a message through the usual channels through the Comnet as soon as I can. I'll keep you up to date. Don't worry.
Oh.
And he goes in for maybe you guys, I'd like to think, have some kind of
Secret handshake.
prearranged that.
Fist bump.
Yeah, fist bump.
Sure.
It's a bit of this,
Sure.
it's a bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of buddy handshakes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and he just sort of suavely walks off, striding past other house members who are busy going about their pre-assigned tasks, and we can return into the rec room.
Yeah.
What would you like to do? Sorry, William, what would you like to do?
I will vanish out of the corridor and pop up in this huddle wherever these guys are having a conversation like I was there the whole time.
It's like he never went.
I think he's off somewhere with House Barragan while we've got to stay here and deal with the Emperor. It's most unpleasant. I'm going to have a word with the envoy for sure. Priorities are not straight.
Is it a demerit? Are you filling in one of those forms?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, any conversation between you in the rec room, or are we having a scene where Envoy Smurk dobs in Victorond to Ambassador Irulan?
I'm not sure if that's necessary. I think maybe. That depends if there's anything to it, I guess.
Well,
I kind of feel like I'm more interested in getting some dirt on this Stalker woman. That's
preoccupying you. Yeah.
As opposed to just...
Absolutely. If I can be of service to that, if I can, please let me know what I can do.
Well, I may have some, but the more ammunition and momentum I have coming up to this conversation, the better I'll do. So this isn't really my wheelhouse. I'm not really in the shadows. I need my wet team to go out and deal with it.
So how do you want to set about getting this sort of light info? Sounds like you need some momentum. You need to do some preparatory work, but I mean, you could leverage, an asset that you have, or create an asset, or there might be another member of the house that you might want to bring in and use.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've already got a recording, so I might have enough. So I feel like since I have it, I should probably use it. Unless someone's got some great idea how they're going to banjax this woman. Is it a lady?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, the other artist are you talking about, or who's the actual Stalker? Do we know?
Yeah, see, it's a scion from another house who's just a massive super fan,
That's right.
as far as
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
according
Okay.
to my notes. But she's
Okay.
slightly higher in status, but not a whole lot.
So I mean, I might have something on her as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just put this in the chat. I can bullshit that I've got some like blackmail evidence or something. It's not true, but I don't know that, and I don't have to tell you that it's not true. I could be like, well, actually, you've got that recording. Yeah, I've got some like camera footage as well, back in the Ornithopter or whatever.
Well, you could combine those two together, although
Yeah.
I mean, and work them together. I guess what I'm thinking about is, are you wanting to approach Anna Vissarion before the exhibition and try and hush her up or intimidate her off, blackmail her off before the exhibition, or is this a plan that you're preparing to put into place when the exhibition is underway?
Before, I think, keep her away from it.
Okay.
Before is more sensible. During sounds more chaotic, which appeals to
Fun,
me.
yeah.
But
I love a bit of chaos. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
In the foyer,
yeah,
the
just
reception.
take her off to
You.
an alcove and like tell her to
All
keep
right.
her hands off the artist.
Okay. So we can now. I presume probably this is something that you want to do maybe fairly early the next day, the day of the exhibition, which is going to be in the evening. But if you really wanted to try and push it, it would be a bit more difficult to try and arrange a meeting with Anna Vissarion the same evening. But if you wanted to push it, it might make it a bit more difficult. But you could do that if you really wanted to push the timeline and get things done and get things set up. It's up to you.
Need to push it to intercept her at the event, sort of thing.
Well, I was thinking about, you've got 12 hours between now and the exhibition. If you want to try and do it before the end of this first day, then it might be a bit more challenge, because you're talking about setting up a meeting with a scion of a minor house. She is an heir. A house once had a lot of status. Then they're not. You'd have to convince the house to allow you to. You need to gain an audience with her. That's going to be difficult.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It would
so
probably
she's
be
not the sort of person you could just scoot off into a corner. And...
No, you have to make
too much
formal arrangements,
entourage.
and that would be your job as envoy ambassador.
Yeah.
So it would be a D3 difficulty to get past the bureaucracy in order to arrange a meeting. Or if you were to give it a bit more time, let your house go through its channels and do it the next day, it might be a bit more straightforward. But it doesn't mean, of course, we're eating into the clock.
So, is this a one-day exhibition?
It is a single evening at the Emperor's discretion. It's almost like a private viewing where he's dictated who's coming along.
Can I ask if we can start the wheels turning on that request, and then perhaps undertake another task or scene while we're waiting for that meeting to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, please, because I have an ability where the more momentum I have leading up to this conversation, the more I can tie this woman down with words.
Nice.
But I need momentum to do it.
Okay.
And we've got none right now. So.
Of course, you can always give me threat. You know that.
Oh yeah, I could always do that. That sounds like a great idea.
So just putting it out there. I wouldn't be doing my duty as shut up mapes if I didn't do that. Okay, so you can set the wheels in motion. So that doesn't require a skill test or anything. You would just pass the message along the line. Blake, and get a formal request sent over, transmitted. Probably actually it would be given given that you want to make the best impression. There would be a Comnet transmission, but there would be an in-person sort of like visit to give the invitation, in order to give due deference. So that ball is rolling. In the meantime, is there anything else you want to do with the remainder of this day?
I'd better go and meet with the artist because she wants to check out her exhibition space, doesn't she?
She would dearly love to do that this evening. She's a bit nervous about the whole situation because of so much hangs on it. So, she's probably actually still in House Obscura right now, been put up in one of the many sort of like guest suites, and has been hoping that you'd be able to go and show the exhibition space to her. Who's going along for this bit?
I'll go. I'm a lighting technician.
Yeah.
I'll put a step that.
Yeah, let's take the
I'm
whole
still
crew.
a little
Everybody's going.
apprehensive about the security. I'd like to see the space as well.
Absolutely. So you don't have Victor to pilot you because he's absconded to do whatever it is that he's going to do.
Got a decent move skill. I can drive us if we need.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's a night flight. Before you go and alert Talia to this, you would, sort of like clerk in through the Comnet and sort of like get all the flight plans and everything, get flight clearance and everything, as you have to on Ecstasy, because it's a pleasure leisure world. But what they don't want is a lot of air traffic, and they try and keep things calm and to the minimum. And the exhibition space is on the same continent that you're on, but it's on the other side of it. Actually, come to think of it, we haven't got a name for the continent. What is the name of the continent that House Obscura on Ecstasy is sat in? What should we call this place?
Avatra.
Avatra.
Michael Archipelago.
Michael Archipelago.
Michael Clark Apelaga. Yeah.
Do you want to lean into the ecstasy and call it Elysium or something like that?
Elysium.
Ooh,
oh,
that's a lot
nice. Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
well played.
The winner of the best name contest goes to Tiran Corrado. Yeah. Elysium is the continent. We can put that in the House Obscura notes.
Hero notes.
Yeah.
Software. It's software for when you don't want to know what it is you wrote down.
Okay, so yes, the flight plans are logged in for you. You don't have to do that yourself. The house member of staff will do that sort of like for you, and then shortly you're notified that it's all logged, and you're given the details of the departure time and the flight route, etc. It's not the most direct route because you're being navigated over, some away from some areas that want to keep the noise level down to a minimum. But nevertheless, you can fly over, and you can pick up an escort, Talia. She is, when you go and break the news to her that she can go see the exhibition space this evening, she seems massively sort of like relieved, and she grabs a sort of portfolio case and sort of like slings it over her shoulder, and she's good to go the second you let her know.
Excellent.
So you hop over to where the ornithopters are situated, outside of House Obscura. I mean, this is not a difficult this is a fairly routine sort of like piloting, but nevertheless, I'm going to require you to make a skill test, please, Brava, because it wouldn't be the first campaign where we killed everybody the moment we got into a vehicle.
Well,
But
I will
I,
miss these characters.
as well.
Certainly a co-pilot, yeah, to assist, definitely.
Please, an assist would be very very much appreciated. All right, so we're gonna do a move test, and because I'm driving not just myself but an honored guest of the house, I will say that what is driving me in this scene is duty.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of like in this scene, there's sort of like two traits at play. One is that you are very familiar with the setup of the ornithopter and familiar with the flying in this area, which makes it easier and reduces the difficulty by 1. But you have Talia
Should
and other
William-
guests with you, which makes it worse. So that equals each other out.
William be a suitable co-pilot? Because they has
Um,
the score as Marlo.
Yeah, if your focus is on that, or if you're better skilled than I, you can roll it. I'm fine with that.
I have the same move. I have stealth or swift as focus. Maybe swift would work. Although, I mean, we've got a route planned.
Yeah.
So could we? Does that mean we can't do like a sort of stealthy, or could we have it planned it as a stealthy route, so we're not going near any potential, dodgy eyes?
Well, you've got a corridor and a set of time parameters to travel in. You have to
Right,
leave
okay.
and arrive at a certain point, and there are certain places in the flight path you must avoid, but you still have some latitude. So yes, you could try and be super
stealth.
discreet. Yes, you could use stealth.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll do that then. So I do move. I'm going to use duty because, again, we've just got to focus on doing what we've got to do for the house.
Yeah.
When I use a move test to pass unseen, I get an extra d20 for free.
Nice.
So that gives me 3 dice.
Nice.
And I'm going to give you 2 threat, so I roll 5 dice.
Okie dokie. All threat gratefully received. And
And I've got a focus, yeah.
I mean, you are flying at night. You are having to fly within certain sort of like parameters. You have got this honoured guest on board. That's negating your familiarity with the vessel. This is a D1 test.
Okay. Nice, 2. That's 5 successes and a assist I get. Is
Yeah,
Brava
I
giving
would
me
love
a
to assist if I
co-pilot?
can.
Yeah, go for it.
Nice.
And I have a focus as well,
Nice.
called My Blood for My House. I would do anything for House Obscura. And I'm going to use my trait. I was going to use the trait Vigilant, but I think that's probably enough for that. So we'll see. Yes.
This flight is more
That
intense
was an
than I
18.
was intending.
Never mind. Not that button.
Never mind.
Brava.
But
So I got 5 successes and we needed 1.
You did. So you've got 4 momentum, which is a
Four
great
momentum.
start. You
Oh.
really need that.
One.
That would be helpful.
yes, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So, what do you think this flight is like for you? Describe the flight a bit for us, sort of like, William. Give us a sort of like broad sketch of, of what you do flying this sort of like
Well,
ornithopter.
Because William hangs out with Victor a lot,
Yeah.
they've probably been out playing about, flying around these things.
Yeah.
But also, William is very discreet, so I think he goes, it drives completely average,
Yeah.
not too fast, probably quite low.
Quite casual,
you
would you
know.
say?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no rocky. There's no bumps. You know what I mean?
It's very smooth
Mm,
ascent. That helps put Talia sort of
yeah.
at her ease. But also, you would probably, because you're so familiar with flying this area and having flown with Victor, maybe playing cat and mouse games. He does like to sort of like test. You do like to test each other's skills because
Yeah.
you work together. You make the best use of the geography of the continent. And there is a good not it not a trench as such, but there are some valleys that you can make best use of that are within the flight path to make your journey to the art exhibition space as hard to follow as possible.
Yeah. Also, I will have one eye on if I do see Victor, because I know the sort of shit he gets up to, and I know the routes he goes, and he's being cagey about where he's going. So, you know what I mean? I'll fly to the place we're flying to, but just have one eye on the sky, see if I can catch him where he is. You know what I mean? Or any evidence of where he is.
I mean, you have got excess momentum.
Okay.
And
So can I use one to gain a bit of information? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I mean, typically you would use that on an understand sort of like roll.
Sure.
But I think given that you're in one of the house ornithopters, you do know that there are flight logs for all the ornithopters, and obviously the Victor isn't using this particular ornithopter because I mean you're sat in it obviously, but yeah, having fun hopping in and out of Discord tonight, isn't it? But
Yep.
sorry, you might have missed what I was saying there. But that all of the house ornithopters have a sort of like shared flight travel log. It's all part of the security sort of like arrangements. So you could spend some momentum to basically interrogate the shared network of information amongst the ornithopter fleet. You might be able to pull up something about him if you want.
Yeah, I'll spend one. I'll just spend one.
Yeah. So obtaining extra information. So obtaining extra information, you sort of like go through, as you're flying, sort of like casually, you go through the various sort of like shared logs in the database, sort of like on board the vessel. What are Tiran, Brava, and Blake doing at this time as Talia is sort of like relaxing a bit more in her chair?
I'm gonna try to help Talia relax. So I'll try to speak to her about. I'll start with if her accommodations are to her liking, and I will try to rely on my perception and my empath skills to kind of read if I'm bothering her, if that topic is to her liking in terms of making her calm down, if I should just shut up and leave her alone, or whatever, to guide the conversation or non-conversation.
Is there any topic in particular that you're going to sort of like broach? Are you going to go for small talk, or are you going to ask her about her art or the exhibition? You want to distract her, but what angle are you going to take?
I'll start with small talk, and I'll see if she goes in any direction. I wouldn't want to risk like asking about her art if that's going to stress her out, or like I don't want to go in on a specific topic that's going to potentially be more disruptive than benefit.
Do you want to do? This sounds like a communication skill. She's a bit stressed at the moment. I mean, she's doing better because of the smooth sort of like flight and the way it's been handled. And she's doing better because you're going to the art space, but she's pretty stressed. This is a D2 if you want to try and communicate with her and help calm her.
Okay. Can I use my empath trait?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can bring that down to D1 as you sort of like tune into her mood and time how you're talking with her.
All right, I will rely on that. And can I apply the social awareness focus?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, and there is 3 momentum in the pool. You know, if you feel that.
Yeah, if I've got the focus on, it's kind of. Now I'll hang on to the momentum for now.
Okay.
But I'll apply duty. I honor my obligations.
Yep.
As kind of doing what the house should be doing. And so that's Witch Drive duty. Submit. How many dice? The standard 2. Submit. Using focus. Yes. Ooh.
Ooh, how do we get on there? Ooh, that looks good. Is that two crits?
Yeah, that's 2 crits because of the focus.
Nice. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. You only needed 1, so you've gained 3 momentum to stick in the pool.
Yeah, I'm going to drag those over now.
In the meantime, I am going to give you a bit of information because you were gaining information as you've been sort of like reading as this little relaxing chit chat is going on, and you know, Tiran, you seem to be doing especially well at sort of like leaning into harmless topics of conversation that put her at ease. William, you've been sort of like looking through the sort of like logs. What kind of information would you like to try and get out of the Ornithopter records?
Well, you know, it's gonna have to be, if it's by the flights and stuff, it's gonna have to be where he's going or where he's been, because I can't be like, you know, he hasn't written his devious plans down in the journal and left it under the seat. You know what I mean? So I think maybe if I can tell where he's been or where he's going to, I might have an idea of what he's up to.
Okay. You know, I'm giving you this as a freebie from the momentum spend, so I'm not requiring a skill test here.
Yeah.
But what you find is that there is a log of his flight, which ornithopter he took. But you can, so there is a logged flight plan there, but he's encrypted it.
Right. Okay.
So you could.
Cool.
You could figure and get that information out, but only if you are able to decrypt what he's done with the log. And you know, this is typical bloody Rond. He's always, you know, pulling off this kind of shit because not meant, you know, this is meant to be security information for the house, and him encrypting his own flight record is typical Rond naughtiness, really.
Okay. Okay. So, what would I have to do to try to decrypt it?
Well, you want a skill test. Trying to think, this could be. Always tend to.
Like, what do you use for that sort of?
It could fall into an understand, but if you can make, if there's any others you're looking at that broadly fit in with it.
No.
I think probably an understand will fit the bill.
Or, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, understand. All right. I will just on the sly have a go at it while I'm flying about.
Yeah.
I'll use my understand, which is not that good, but it's okay.
It's a D2.
Could I use as a move test, as in a stealth test, to do it without everyone seeing what I'm doing? Or does it still count as understand, but I could use the stealth focus?
Oh, you can use the stealth focus to keep it on the down low. You're doing an understand,
Right.
but you're sort of like position your body and be sort of like subtle about
Yeah.
make it look like you're just doing the normal. Because you know, Brava flies, so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to use my power comes at a knife's edge because we always play these games.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time if I decrypt something, it's just him having encrypted it just to pique my interest.
Yeah.
So I get 2 dice. How are we doing? I don't want to baffle the momentum.
Yeah, we need to
but we've
keep
got
that
loads.
for our envoy friend.
Actually, we're maxed out right now at 6, so we can't get any more.
I'm going to
use
take
more
2
than
of
3.
those. I'm going to take 2 of those momentum.
All right, fair
roll
enough.
4 dice.
Yeah.
I get 4 dice. Using a focus stealth.
Woo.
Okay, 3, so I get 1 back.
You do.
See, the way you've been rolling, you're getting us all the momentum.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. You break through the encryption. It's one that he uses fairly frequently. One that in fact he sort of like taught you, so you know it fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you start to sort of like get the first sort of like part of the of the key, you immediately recognize the cipher, and then you get his full flight path. He's gone to, well, tell me, what is the name of the small group of islands that the minor house Barragan owns on Ecstasy? Because that's where he's going.
Right at the Barragan Islands. Okay. Well, go on, Brava. You're the expert at the naming of things. Defer
Bastard
to your
Isle.
infinite wisdom.
What was that?
Bastard Isles.
Bastard
That's what
Isle.
we call them.
Right.
What they
How
actually
about the Mirage Archipelago?
Well,
There we
they're
go.
the military house, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, okay.
what if we
Sure.
but Sherpa Steve, you said in the past that some of the names in Arrakis are things that have been shortened over time.
Yes. Over the years, yeah.
So what if it was something like Champ de Mars or like Mars Camp? Because like Mars is God of War, but like
Okay.
Yeah.
but then contracted into something like Cadmar.
Yeah, cool. There you go.
How am I spelling that?
Cadmar.
Oh, that's-
Nice. So yes, he's got a flight plan log there.
Love it. Very in universe.
Mm-hmm. Nerd alert! Nerd alert! Hi, nerd alert. Yes, so he's got a flight plan log for there, which raises an eyebrow for you. Also, you see in the flight plan he's logged a brief tag which says, Turosh, keep your nose out.
I log out, whatever you do, like re-crypt it or whatever.
Yeah,
re-encrypt it,
just
or
make it look
just log
as it
out
was.
and shut it down and leave it. Before I do that, I put a little emoji that's like that in there for him,
Nice.
and then decrypt it, whatever.
Yeah.
Log out.
Okay. And all this
Carry on
seamlessly
flying,
going
don't say
on.
anything.
As as Corrado and Talia are having their chit chat, and it seems that the polite conversation to run that sort of Talia readily sort of like leans into. She loves to talk about nature. So as soon as you mention, the climate and how and maybe pointing out some of the sights on flight, she gets very enthusiastic about talking about nature, and this is her first visit to Ecstasy. Before you know it, there's quite a bit of back and forth, and you can feel, as an empath, her anxiety lessening as a result of this exchange. And then you fly in and land without a hitch at the exhibition space. And I'm going to pop you on a map so you can have a little look at it. Because here, this is a Blue Peter tradition. Here's the map I prepared earlier. I'm just going to grab all that threat though, because I seem to have some more. And we'll slide that momentum over as well. So we need 5 momentum, I think. Let's check that over there. Can you see the map okay?
Yeah.
I got a black square.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see it. All right.
Oh, it's probably just a permission.
All I see is a big black square as well. Maybe
Yeah.
it's my browser. I don't know.
Nah, it'll be a permission thing.
Okay.
Tell me if that fixes it.
It does. I also reloaded a page just in case, but it looks like
Yeah, I
it's...
can see it now. Thank you.
That's right. How about you, Tiran? Have you got it now?
I reloaded the page and now we're good.
Excellent. Okay. Let's move that.
I think I accidentally moved that while it was blacked out.
So how much momentum did you have? You had 1, 2, 3, 4.
We had 5, I think you said, but we can't see it now because.
No, because it's on the
I
other
think
page.
that's
1, 2, 3, 4.
We had 5. Yeah, because you spent 2, but then we got 1 back. Yep.
Yeah.
We were maxed out
We
at
were.
6, and then you spent 1 on the last roll, so that makes 5.
Yeah.
But if it's a new scene, we lose 1, so now it's... Well, this is the same scene, so...
It's the same scene. We just flown and arrived here. So so you arrive at the exhibition space. You can see that it's got a separate area for the landing of an ornithopter. You can even see that this ornithopter, has the house branding on it. And it's by the edge of this large lake used mostly for sort of water sports by the looks of it. This exhibition gallery is a sort of sleek building. It's a single floor. What's the kind of architectural style? There's an architectural style which makes buildings look as if they kind of float. That's the kind of style that this building has. It's very minimalist. It also, quite unusually, as you can see, has its own shield set up, which kind of makes sense that this has been picked out by the Imperial Court because it has very good security, having the potential for house shields. You've had as security operations sort of like lead Brava, the entry codes because they have been securely transmitted to you. Veritas gave you that info. The main entrance is to the north. I'm pinging it sort of like here. This is where the guests are going to arrive. this is sort of like the service entrance, for any staff or users of the exhibition space. So that's where you would make use of. There isn't dynamic lighting on this map or movement barriers, hopefully. So you can move wherever you like. But you can step down out. There's a crunch of gravel underneath you. There's beautifully manicured sort of like hedgerows. It's a beautifully minimalist sort of like space. Of course, it's nighttime, but then there's appropriate sort of like illumination. There's downlighting from the overhanging roof of this single-story building, as well as a couple of light drones that sort of like emerge as you arrive and then pick up to guide you from the landing pad to wherever you choose to go. So tell me what you want to do.
I'll try to usher her inside in the space as quickly as possible. I don't like being exposed. I don't like being outside. I'll try to move her as quickly as possible inside the building.
Yeah, excellent. So you should have control of your token, so feel free to move yourself around.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Brava is looking everywhere except at her. He's looking for threats. He's using his vigilant talent. So he'll move, should be, right to the front door and let her go from there.
Yeah, okay.
And motion her this way.
Yeah. And there is just this fresh breeze that's coming off the lake. And, I mean, by way of threats, apart from, it's a very well managed area, carefully cultivated area. So you note even down the attention of detail here in terms of security is excellent. There aren't even reeds or long grasses close by that would be a potential source of cover. The most threatening thing really are that there's some equivalent of geese on the water. That's it.
Or anything under the water.
Well, as far as you can make out, nothing that you can see. Also, this is an area where you have potentially a long field of vision. There aren't annoying breakups of terrain that interfere and get in the way. You could see, you could see a legion of Sardaukar coming from miles and miles and miles away if you had to. So there's plenty of.
Well, they stick out. They wear these white uniforms. They don't use camouflage. It's pretty obvious when they show up.
Absolutely. And it would be obvious from miles away if they decided to turn up.
Well, hopefully we won't see any of them except around the Emperor.
Yeah. I think, Talia might link arms with you, Tiran, given that you were chatting with her so nicely. She carries the conversation on as Bravo makes a beeline for the door.
I will try to let absolutely nothing slip to her, but I will try to move her along relatively quickly.
Sure.
Sensing Brava's desire to get out of the open. But I obviously don't want to be like, hey, we need to hurry up because it's dangerous.
Frog march, one arm either side, the heels dragging. No, I mean, if I would tell you this, that if she notices that she's been escorted swiftly, she doesn't betray that. She's really very comfortable just continuing to make chat with you, sort of like pointing out there. She's seen images of the gallery, but she's really impressed with its architecture and how discreet it is. She loves the setting on the lake, saying, she spent 7 months on Arrakis doing this artwork and how refreshing it is to be on a planet with lots of greenery and water, would be worth such a. Yeah, she's just chatting on with you, so she doesn't notice that you're making good pace.
Yeah, I'll go on ahead and be like, well, I'm sure you're keen to see the exhibition space, so let us waste no time in going and taking a look at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, which room is the exhibition room?
Yeah, absolutely. So this area that you're in now with that lovely green rug is... Let me get the comb out. Yeah, so this area here, is kind of like the behind the scenes. This is the area that you would use to. It has already got a lot of your sound and lighting equipment in it, sort of like stacked up in a very orderly fashion, ready to be sort of like deployed. There's also a set of containers that have Talia's artwork securely locked in it. You notice, that these aren't just boxes. These are pretty secure looking units. Have electronic security sort of like on them. Look quite sophisticated.
I was imagining they've got a fancy way of opening up when it's time to unveil them to everyone to look at. Or rolls around behind or something.
Well, they're just in storage right now. This is just storage, so they need to be hung up on the walls and deployed. This is what you're there to talk about, how to exhibit her art. Yeah, but see, she makes her way in. And just goes and stands and look at the containers and sort of like nods at them. There is this intervening door between the sort of like rear of the house and the gallery is secure, by the way. It has a security lock on it. Of course, Brava, you already know what the code is, as you did to the exterior, and it's all exactly as you thought.
Using a key to palm locks or a number key, and he pushes them in, and he'd like to stay. He wants to go check out all the entrances first while they're looking at the boxes and things like that. He's going to step into the next room and take a look at the front door and make sure that's keyed correctly as well.
Yeah, and that is another very secure entryway. There's only two doors, that one and the one that you came through in. There are a number of windows, but they are also have the potential to be secured. They're very sort of like discreet. They're quite narrow. You could manage to slip through them, but only a few were willing to sort of like circumnavigate the exterior security on it. As in they can be blinded and shuttered. And as you see, there's some there's some furniture here. I mean, in the back room where Blake, Talia, Tiran, and William are at the moment, there's a host of other equipment laid out there. Staging, sound equipment, special effects. I don't know what. To help me out here with what the kind of equipment that the House Obscura has, but all of the trappings that you need to put on the exhibition. But yeah,
it's an 18-inch tall Stonehenge model.
The smoke machine.
Fog machine, yeah.
Lots of foam board and photo spray.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see, you've got here, a number of potential places for the exhibition of the art, these internal sort of like wall spaces, all so that you can segregate the pieces of art and display them in different ways. Looks like, this this area here, that this is kind of where, you would be expecting when the Emperor comes to have a look. That's this area is going to be the VIP area for the Imperial Court.
Very Imperial presence.
Oh, very nice. I like it. Yeah, so feel free to move around and interact as you like. There's no restrictions here.
Well,
Yeah, Brava's going to do a security check of. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
He's going to do a security check of the seating. Basically, poison snooper detector. Up under the seats, checking everything.
Have you got an asset you want to use?
I do have a poison snooper asset that I have, but other than that, just sort of feeling around underneath, making sure there's nothing.
What kind of skill
I don't know if
test
that
do you
would be-
think that is?
If I had to guess, I would say something like discipline, but I don't know. Let me see.
I think it could be discipline.
Discipline is to keep checking under the seat after you already found the chewing gum.
Or is it to resist
not my
checking
favorite
under
flavor.
the seat when you found chewing gum?
Right?
Or to resist putting the it's to resist chewing the gum that you found.
Ugh. Let me see if I can find a better.
Well, perhaps whilst you're thinking about that,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, what do you think? What are you up to, William?
I was gonna say she's the artist,
She is.
and we're like the, tech crew.
Mm.
So I would maybe ask her right, come and show us where you want everything put, and we can start. Because all her stuff is in this back room, right? And this is ready to be set up.
Yeah, all of her
exhibition.
art is there, all sealed up and locked in secure, electronically tagged and sort of secured containers. All of your equipment to be able to display it is already there. Yeah, and she will sort of unlink her arms from Tiran and just sort of give you a sort of little pat on the hand and a smile, Tiran, as she sort of sachets forth. Quite an elegant woman, Talia, really, and she seems much more at ease, thanks to everything that's gone on before. And she clasps her hands in delight as she looks at the space, and I think the centerpiece of the work must be here. And she walks over to this exhibition space. Yes, I think Desert Landscape 5 on this wall, Desert Landscape 6 on this wall, Desert Landscape 4, very prosaic naming.
I'll be writing all this down that she says, you know what I mean? And,
she loves
Are there
it.
servants?
And I mean-
Are we alone in here, or do we have other servants and technicians about from the house to kind of
Now,
do the?
you can have it any way you like. If you want to have, a person as an asset here on the
Skibbing.
scene, then yeah, you can create it. You can have whomever you like if you want an NPC here.
Yeah, should we? What does the party think? Should we have?
I definitely think, a security detail of some kind to keep the building secure.
I was just gonna get somebody to put the paintings up for us because I was
Yeah,
lazy.
tech crew as
Oh.
well. Yeah.
Sure, a tech crew as well.
Yeah, because I was gonna put them up crooked. So, yeah.
No, raise that side up a bit. No,
Yeah, yeah.
your left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, how do we generate a level as an asset?
Yeah, spirit level.
Now, has anyone got any talents about creating assets in scenes? Otherwise, I think you got to spend momentum.
I'll trust the servants to do it right.
Well, you haven't
Yeah,
got
we
any.
need to
You haven't
spend
got
money
any
to
yet.
get
You
Ring
haven't got-
7.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can we just take
Oh,
down,
I see.
just take down instructions and then leave them for servants that we ask for back at the house? Or are we then taking a risk on it not being done well?
I think it'd be nice if Talia could see them on the wall, so she
yeah.
checked the lightings
I'd-
all
I'd-
night. And...
Yeah, I'd straight start doing it. You know,
Alright.
put me with this.
Can't be
How
that
much
much.
would
see-
it cost to get a legion of servants in?
But like I said, unless you've got a
Swarm
talent,
of servants.
you might have a talent that enables you to create an asset in a scene. If not, then you've got to spend momentum to create an asset.
Yeah, how much?
Is it 1 for 1 for your assets? Is it 1 for 1?
Well, not one for one person. I'd say, sort of like you can use a momentum, create an asset of installation team and support team or something like that.
I think that's a
Okay.
wild thing to do.
Yeah, and we could have just met them here, and there's a couple of
They just showed up
you know.
a few minutes late now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
they
They're like
arrive.
removal men.
Maybe they
yeah.
arrive on a watercraft.
Yeah.
And sort of like dock up, and
Okay.
They
yeah,
come out from under the surface of the water, much to Brava's consternation.
with
To that chest.
with geese,
I knew it. There was something out of the water.
goose hats.
Scuba
Yeah, goose hats. On.
There's scuba masks, and they're taking out the. Yeah.
Just come from a
All right, so
very
I've spent.
in-depth vetting from Veritas, so they're a bit shaky.
Yeah. yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've
So
got a little team of
do you have to?
little overall chaps to
Yeah.
do as we tell them.
In the house, colours in their sort of like discreet service uniforms, and your most experienced staff who are all under. Well, they all come under the Spy Master's jurisdiction because he's the technical art director. So not only are they very competent lighting engineers, they are also skilled in the arts of subterfuge and espionage too.
And they're called Chris and Barry.
No. Unless you're going to spell
It's
it
not an
with a
international
K,
reference, that one.
K-R-I-S and B-A-R-I.
Yeah.
I might let you get away with it.
Yeah.
Chortle Brothers.
Deal. Yeah. Yeah. Chortle Brothers. Yeah.
No, I won't ruin it.
Oh. Sad. All right. So yeah, I'll just be writing whatever she says down, and then send Chris and Barry to back on. You know what I mean? Put that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then get her to check afterwards, and then we can make sure the lights look good. And
Yeah.
is there are we just relying on the lighting, or is there any sort of outside? Is there big windows or a skylight or something? Or is it just our lighting that makes it look as good as it does?
Well, there is already integral lighting in the space, obviously, but then your lighting is there to to create particular sort of light ambience. It's all programmable. There is lighting that you can adjust through the many windows.
Okay.
At some point, I might manage to get roll 20's Nick home to play ball. These ones here, they seem to have changed the
Okay.
interface recently. So there's loads of them, and these are also controllable. They would have their own
Right.
sort of like remote controls, so you can adjust them. And I imagine they're kind of like church windows in that they're quite narrow. Have kind of like a stained glass. But they can be shuttered, and you can adjust the amount of ambient light from outside in. This is a bespoke architectural space just for exhibitions, so it's designed to be easy to set up and adjustable. And as soon as you start, you're paying attention to her, William. She loves that. And she will instruct. She takes over your crew immediately as they arrive, and starts ordering them about. And she has to go over to the containers and enter the security code in order to release it. It does sort of like they do open in a funky kind of way. And then the art can be extracted. It's very well put together and contained within the crate. You imagine you could drop that crate out of a low-flying ornithopter and it would probably withstand the worst of an impact. It's how secure it is. No expense has been spared. And she starts directing your staff to hang it here and hang it there, and you're making notes. And she's in her element.
Cool.
Now then, is this? Are you going to take an opportunity here, Mr. Smurk, to quiz her a bit more?
I kind of already quizzed her on Stalker, though, so I'm not sure what else I could get out of her, honestly.
You don't know until you try. I mean, she seems, when you talked to her last time, she was very much on edge. And now she's in the exhibition space and you've done all the groundwork, you've got all this momentum. It's possible you could tease more out of her, she might be more forthcoming.
Alrighty then. I'll jangle up to her.
Yeah.
Just as she's starting to relax
Mm.
and ruin her day. I can't find the name now. Yes, I'll build up to asking her about Anniversarian. But first of all, I'll be like, have your worries been assuaged so far, miss?
And she's sort of like just like this right now, and she looks over at you. Well, she said, I am considerably more comforted. I know that you said that you would take care of it. I do feel better about the fact that you're here and you do seem, very competent. And I like that.
Thank you very much. On the subject of Miss Viserion, we have it under control, of course. However, our effectiveness in dealing with this lady could be improved by any further details you could give us. Particularly, anything that can be used as leverage against her.
And when you start to drill in and talk more about Anniversarian, her fan, she takes on a bit of a harder edge, she's still smiling, but there's a bit of a hardness sort of like in her eyes as you focus in on that topic. Now she's amenable. And she's in a setting that makes her comfortable, so that's a trait. So this lowers the difficulty level. Nevertheless, she's cautious because of the status of Viserion and their personal history. So this is going to be a D3, but it's lowered to a D2.
Okay.
And you're going to need a communicate skill test.
I would say probably use some of that momentum.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm just checking between momentum and determination which one I want to use.
Determination.
So I wrote down all the things earlier.
Determination gives you a guaranteed success. A crit, basically. So you get 2 successes for the price of 1.
Wait, if you're using a drive statement, right? Communicate. So yeah, I think I'll use a momentum to buy a D20 because then it gives you more chance of getting one back, right?
Indeed, yeah. it's worth piling a few in if you're using a skill that you're good at with a high target number. Once you add up, your skill and your drive together, if you're confident you're going to go successes, you get more momentum. It's a D2. But
Or if you've got a focus that you're applying.
yeah,
Then the more crits.
absolutely.
Yeah, let's use a couple of momentum then for 2d20.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Isn't it? It's 1 momentum for 1d20, but the
Yes.
next dice costs 2, so I'd need 3 altogether.
No, it's 1 for 1, isn't it?
I'm not
No,
sure.
you need 3. The first one's 1 point. The second die is 2 points, and the third
Oh,
die is
really?
3
Yeah.
points. So if you want to buy 3 momentum, it's 3 dice. It's 6 momentum.
Whole pool.
Oh, shit, I haven't been doing that.
Well, let's keep that as our little
Oh, we may have
secret.
missed that earlier. That's
It's alright, still learning, it's all learning.
Alright, so I'll use 1 then. Yeah, no, let's use 3 because it gives you a chance to get it back, right? So 3 for 2 dice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I
Right.
choose communicate.
Yep.
And then. Ooh, drive statement.
Yeah.
Ooh. Go with duty. Because I'm just doing my job, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what you were destined to do. This is your this is
My statement is what must be done, which I think might apply.
Yeah.
So does that mean I add a dice for that?
Yeah.
So
Wait,
when it says how
having
many...
Your focus? The drive is... No.
yeah,
The
it
drive
enables
just
you
means
to use
you-
your focus.
You're allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It-
use the focus or
Well, one of my
Just use
focus is diplomacy, so that could do it.
I think that focus fits, and it's in alignment with your drive statement.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. So now, when it says how many dice, does that mean I'm going to 3, 4, 5? Or am I confusing myself?
You roll 2, and you bought 2.
Yeah. So it's
So a
4.
total of 4.
And the drive one doesn't add a dice. That's
No.
something
No.
to do with difficulty. So 4. Right, okay.
Right.
Here we
But
go.
basically, it lowers the number you have to roll for a crit.
Mm.
Is different because
It's
it
better.
applies to your focus.
Right, so using focus.
It raises
yeah.
the number. Yeah.
I did a thing.
1.
Ooh.
Brilliant.
Ooh, hey,
Nothing's red.
Wow,
2 crits,
dude.
Yeah.
6 successes.
Woohoo!
So I'll get
That's
3
6
back.
successes. Yeah.
So I'll keep those 3
Yeah.
momentum.
Wow. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and stick another 2 in because you're at the maximum that the pool can be.
Another 2.
Yeah.
So we're on to 6.
Yeah, so the momentum has a cap
We maxed out at
6.
6.
Yeah. You earned more than that, but you can only go up to 6. So you got plenty of momentum in
Well,
the
I
bank
spent
there.
3 though, right? So really, I just got those 3 back. So it'd be 4
Yeah.
altogether, not the extra 2. I keep talking myself out of things.
Yeah, stop it. You added 2 difficulty level. You got 6. That's 4 above. So
Right.
we're capped out at 6.
Okay, that's fine.
It's all good. You did brilliantly. So tell me what this looks like.
It's
You
amazing.
know,
Yeah.
bottom line it for me. You've got exactly the result that you want. What is it? What is it you want to tease out of her? And you're
I
going
want
to
to
get
tease
it.
out of an incredibly embarrassing vice that this woman has that she would not want the rest of her house finding out about, let alone the Emperor or
Yeah.
like the general public.
Yeah, you've done such
Something especially salacious.
you've done such an excellent job here. I'm going to give you an intangible asset.
Ooh.
So you can
Ooh.
add this in onto your sheet.
Okay.
And what she's saying to you, Talia is saying, now this must not go any further than you or I, darling. She says darling to everyone, so it must not. Particularly given the nature of House Visariion's relationship to the Imperial Court, it would be damaging to me, sweetheart, if it came to be known that I let this slip.
Of course. Although a weapon is no use unless it's fired, we shall ensure we are discreet. It is our ethos, you could say.
Sometimes the threat of a weapon is enough alone.
Very good.
She has a crippling spice addiction. She has only recently experimented with the use of spice while she was on Arrakis, and she has yet to really learn how to manage the mind-expanding effects of the spice melange. And it did not mix well with her nature, her constitution. So she has had to make a lot of efforts and get a lot of support in order to manage it. And she would not want anyone to know that she had that difficulty.
I see. So it's damaging to her pride to not be able to handle the spice. Is that what you're saying?
Quite so.
And presumably quite expensive to support her in this habit.
Again, she's licking her lips, but because you got 6 successes and 2 crits, she says, I fear that she might be, to some extent, potentially damaging the resources of her own house in order to ensure that she has supplies of what she needs, both the spice and to manage the effect that it has on her. If you take my meaning.
I do take your meaning. What a terrible dereliction of duty.
It is shameful, and it would bring shame on her house and the house of the Emperor if this became publicly known.
I understand your meaning. Yes, I guess this could be quite a delicate tool in our arsenal against Miss Visarion.
I really would wish, though, that this information was only used as a threat.
Of course.
Does...
Our aim here is not to release this information. Our aim is to keep this woman away from you and your art.
Very good. I think it would simply be enough to let her know that you know something about her that would be harmful to her reputation and that of the house.
Yes. I think we can work with this. Thank you very much for your candor.
She says, of course, you know, she says and smiles a little bit. If it becomes known more specifically, then I know that you know that I know where that information came from.
Yes, that won't happen.
I've only told you.
I'm sure there's more ways than you for someone to find out this information. She has a support network, she has smugglers on her payroll. I'm sure we can, if in the unlikely event something went wrong, I'm sure we could pin this on someone else.
Well, nevertheless, personally,
more deserving of the blame.
I would be most upset if it did come out, and I would look to you to make it go away or deal with the consequences if it should happen. I hope I make myself clear.
Of course. I know. I catch your meaning exactly.
Anyway, and then she goes back to commanding a few servants around because that makes her feel better, and the nasty conversation goes away, and she starts sort of like...
What did you call me?
She called you the nasty conversation.
Yeah, makes sense.
In the meantime, anything, William, you want to be doing, or Tiran, or Blake? I mean, you've been doing your security sweep. Have you been able to think of, what skill you think you want to use for that? You mute me.
Yeah, in the interest of the rules there, I looked at understand, basically to make searches and things like that. So it would be an understand check as far. It's not my best skill, but we will give it the old college try nonetheless.
Yeah.
So we'll do an understand check. Although we do have a couple of extra points of momentum that I may want to use, at least one, just to try give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a focus or a trait you can bring to bear?
I do not have a focus. I do have a trait. I do have vigilant. He is and devoted. So I would probably use one, or see if I could use that one to use his duty.
Okay. Yeah, this.
And I will use 1 point of momentum.
I'm just going to
Go
give you an idea of the difficulty rating first, so.
That'd be great.
Because I think it kind of like helps if you know beforehand kind of what you're up against.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautifully curated sort of like space. It does have some, natural security features that, the house shield sort of like facility, but also, it's meant for public exhibitions. It's whilst it's got some good elements of security to it, it is meant to be an exhibition and a viewing space, not a bunker.
Right.
So, there's a lot to its design that lends itself well to exhibitions, not to, keeping everybody safe. There's plenty of places where stuff
Right.
could be hidden and secreted. So I think this is going to be quite challenging. Let's say it's a D3.
Okay. And can I use my trait of vigilant to take that down, or is it 4 and I took it down to 3?
No, you can take it down to 2.
To 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think 1 momentum, you think is enough, guys?
If you want to use more than that, use them. Because you can always win them back and stuff. We've got
Let's
plenty.
hope. I'm gonna use. I'll spend 3 points of momentum to buy 2 dice.
Nice.
I might spend some threat here.
Oh,
I
that is
think
the fun part.
I
See
think
what's
I
happening. Yeah.
think I want to put an obstacle in here.
Okay.
Team fight.
What, mate? Yeah. Now, if I'm spending threat, stick an obstacle in. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to increase the difficulty. I increase the difficulty of the skill test by 1 for every 2 points of threat spent. I'm going to spend 4 threats because I've got a load of it because you gave it to me last time.
Yes, we did. Well then.
And make it fun.
Sure.
Okay,
So we're now up to a D. We're up to a D4 now.
Yeah.
Can I be, if I'm not doing anything, I was kind of hoping to earwig on that conversation, but if not, I will help the sergeant if I can assist him.
I would love some help. I would love some assistance.
Yeah. So you do it and I roll an assist, right?
Right, you roll 1d20. So let's see. So I'm going to spend 3 points for 4 dice. Let's see what happens. And I do not have a focus, unfortunately, on understand. So.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Well, I think my dice still think I'm rolling in Dungeons and Dragons because they kept rolling high. They don't understand that I want to roll low. I want ones across the board. I got no successes. I got 0. The target number was 12, and I got no successes. So,
So even if I do an assist,
you don't bother because you
only get 1 dice, right?
Yeah, it's not going to make an impact even if you use determination. That would only get you 2.
Well, I'll chalk that up to my defeat for advancement points and try to
do make a note of
that for later.
Yeah, you have a failure for advancement.
Oh my!
Keep a track of it.
So, sorry.
I'm gonna ask William. Given the difficulty in finding things around here, should we consider hiding something of our own? Perhaps in the VIP area? Maybe we have something of a recording nature in our equipment room.
I don't have that, but I think I know a man who does.
We could create it potentially using momentum from. You just kind of decide that it's in that equipment room.
Okay. If we can do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
And how does this work? Like, if the sergeant has done a search under here but hasn't found anything.
Barely.
Yeah, well, if he's like, man looked across the table. Can somebody else attempt it, or is it once you've tried it, you can't all try it?
Well, we're now attempting to hide something as opposed to find something, right?
Yeah. But I'm asking, like, can I attempt to find something, or once you've looked, is that?
Okay, so this would be to
sort of
find some. So you're trying to find something again.
You just want to know, in theory, whether or not you could have another go at finding something. Right?
Yeah. Can 2 people attempt the same action if one of them fails it?
How you could do. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, sort of like Sherb Steve, because I could be, because I don't recollect all the rules, like a quarter of them maybe.
I don't know.
But it's repeatedly trying the same thing that you failed.
Makes it harder, doesn't it?
Well, I think that you can do. It's certainly going to be at the same difficulty level as it before. It's not going to suddenly be easier.
Yeah, we'll quickly run out of momentum, but as long as there's no consequences for, there's no time element. Eventually, we'll run out of time to search.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You didn't get a complication, which might have made it more difficult to continue.
Could have been
on with it. You could.
It didn't make anything worse.
It didn't make anything worse, but time has been spent, and you were helping with that. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've already assisted, haven't I? So I would have spent that time with them.
Absolutely, and you both have gone through this with a fine-tooth comb.
Brava's sure there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Sure, fair enough. Okay. All right. So yeah, then we could hide something there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we talked before about the poison snooper thing. We expect there'll be some there, but I have another sneaky portable one that we could hide aside from those. Or do you mean more of a?
I was thinking something more sneaky, more of a recording device,
like a surveillance,
it's just something to see if anybody in the VIP area is dumb enough to let something slip in a public environment.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe we should see if we can capture that.
Mm.
So the mechanic to create an asset in here is what we spend 2 momentum, or?
Yeah, I think so. Hang on. Creating an asset. Momentum spends. Spending momentum. 151. Common uses: create a trait, create an asset created. You can spend 2 momentum to make an asset created during a scene permanent at quality 0.
So spending 2 points of momentum creates a brand new trait. Create an asset the same way as creating a trait.
Yeah, I think you spend 1 to create a trait, or spending 2 points of momentum to create a trait.
Oh, so it's 2 points to create it, and then another 2
2
points to add
make
it to
it
your character sheet as a permanent.
as a permanent. Yeah, otherwise it will last. Assets created in this way are temporary and cease to exist at the end of the scene.
The end of the
Well, that's no use to you right now.
But also, if you have any determination, you could spend a point of determination, and it would be a quality 1, like permanent asset.
I'll do it.
Yep.
I think like William's an infiltrator. He must.
But you
be
want
able
it
to like come up with this stuff.
You want it to be permanent enough for the next scene. You want it for. You
yeah,
can't.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't.
This
But
asset.
we can give you threat.
Yeah, you can give me threat. Yeah.
Well, there you go. We'll spend give you 1 threat. There you go. Boop. And 1 momentum to make it.
Yeah.
And then we spend 2 momentum to make it permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will then last into the next scene and become a tangible asset for whoever wants it when you come and pick it up. Otherwise, it's kind of like, it has a limited power supply. The whole thing will run down by the evening, and you'll go there and find it's recorded absolutely nothing. You've just got hours and hours of blank footage with maybe, someone, the janitor wandering in and out. Fascinating. So, you need it sort of like deployed. Now, where are you going to put it?
Well, in the VIP
area
bit,
somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, based on the search, did you observe any particularly good hiding spots while you were searching?
Did we, Sergeant?
Well, heck.
There is, right? There are a couple of different crannies in this sort of carved settee that we could put something, disguised it in there, or either on one of the corners where he's standing, either here or here, to get the most out of the foot traffic from the front door to the VIP area.
You don't want to have too much crowding because then it'll be harder to pick out voices. So probably right in the... And also one nice feature of a hiding place would be, if somebody did find it, would it look like it was obviously something we put there, or just something that had been there all along?
Well, is the VIP area a place where they're going to be like doing a speech or something, or is it just a fancy table where they're going to sit?
Well, that is the seating here. Let me just get my Nick comb out to point to things.
Yeah.
This seating,
so it's just chairs, is it?
That is, that is a very long sort of like chaise longue. It's most likely where the Contessa and where the Emperor himself are going to sit, with their contingent of personal bodyguards sort of like around them, where they're going to view the exhibition whilst the 50 other or so odd guests mill about the place. And then so that's what's going to happen. You don't need
to record the Contessa because we're recording on her behalf. So maybe we put it behind there where the Emperor's attendants will be milling about.
Yeah, why don't we have one of our fancy lights up there that are all over the place and hide it in there? I mean, that's our bag, right? We're doing all the lighting.
Yeah.
We'll give them some smart... Yeah, we'll give them some smart backlight They look really for all the newspaper reporters and stuff that take photos of them.
Yeah.
That looks really smart.
Okay, excellent. So you've created that asset, and you're going to deploy it within one of one of your lighting sort of like installations. Now, I really like the ideas that you've got. I think given the success in creating the asset, you know, we're not meant to be rolling every 5 seconds in Dune. You've got that executed sort of like perfectly. You could have asked, you know, one of the attendants, one of your support team to bring over the special lighting installation, and instantly they know what you mean, because they've got years of this experience. And he goes out and grabs the correct lighting fixture and sort of like positions it just how you like. Talia is thoroughly engrossed in how magnificent her art is going to look, and you know, is boring Blake to death with telling you about the many trials and tribulations she went through in order to get Desert Scene number 3 executed. Yes, darling, the wind was really quite dreadful. Have you ever been to Arrakis before?
No, not at all, although I would love to visit at some point.
Well, they say you have to suffer for your art, and certainly I did suffer on Arrakis creating this.
Well, hopefully your suffering will be displayed upon the canvas for all to see.
She gives you a little quizzical look of not quite sure how to take that. And I think at this point might be a good point to take a break, grab a cup of tea, and we'll see how things pan out at the end of this scene and the next scene.
Groovy.
Groovy.
Awesome.
Excellent. One cup of tea later, back into it. So, having scoped out the architectural space, the exhibition hall, and having made Talia very happy and extracted some very useful information, you now have an intangible asset. For that, you also have successfully planted a recording device, again making a permanent tangible asset that will endure. That's ready to go. Also, you have there was one other thing. Yeah, well, as far as you're concerned, the security arrangements are tickety-boo. I'm sure that won't bite you in the arse later, but
I'm sure that won't be terrible.
no. Nevertheless, you know, the return flight in the Ornithopter, you know, William is a breeze. You know, you did the move roll so beautifully that covers the whole of the flight, there and back again, to quote Tolkien. And you know, Talia is excited and hopeful. So you seem to have gone a long way. You drop her. I mean, she's staying, I think, at House Obscura. So, you know, she's very happy when you return late at night, and retires to her quarters, probably having chatted enthusiastically to her new best friend, Tiran Corrado, all the way. And you know, you return back to House Obscura, and it's night mode. It's very quiet. Of course, the front of house is there to greet you when you return, and you get a report back via Irulan's team that a meeting with Anna Vissarion is on the cards. All the groundwork that they did for the remainder of the day has paid off, and that they have agreed a meeting with you, but on their territory. You will have to go to meet Anna Vissarion. Effectively, not that it's. I mean, they don't have a formal space here on Ecstasy. It's not like an embassy or anything like that, but it's where she has located herself, so it's on her turf, so to speak, which is not on your own continent, which we named. Ooh, what do we call it? We called it
Elysium?
Yes, Elysium. So yes, it will be on her territory. So it's not. She is located in a very swanky resort, sort of in one of the equatorial regions. So it enjoys the best weather. It's quite an exclusive little island resort, Bahamas like, sort of like, imagine. But you do have a secured meeting with her.
Good. Do I have to go alone, or can I
You can select and take whom you want.
take a friend? Who'd be most useful?
I see everyone volunteering.
Yeah. No one wants to hang out with the Smurk. What's going on?
I'll go if Smurk doesn't mind.
I'm happy to go. I just don't know if you'll be happy for me to go with.
I might be able to pick up on her
Yeah.
body language or such.
I guess you would
There we
be
go. We'll
the most
pile
social.
in with you.
Everyone goes.
Yeah.
That's
who should
fine
take?
by
We were
me.
sat in the ornithopter already.
Yeah, we're already in the ornithopter with.
Okay. So the meeting is for tomorrow morning.
Sure.
At a very sensible time, 10 o'clock. The equivalent of. So, not too early, not too late. It does mean that there's the remainder of the day for anything else you need to do before the beginning of the exhibition. So there would be a beautiful sunrise as you fly across the continent of Elysium, heading to this paradise-like isle. And what are you going to call this place that Vissarion has named her own?
I don't know. What's a good holiday? What about Haven?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I get PTSD to when I work there. Yeah, let's go with Haven.
Haven.
With
I love it. Yeah.
No relation to the caravan company.
Because that is really
just
the
in a
complete
caravan.
wrong vibe that
Yeah, exactly.
for this place. To the uninitiated, Haven Holidays is a really substandard. Oh dear, hang on, we might get a sponsorship from them one day. I don't want to burn our bridges.
Not anymore.
Really
Not anymore,
classy.
no, wrecked it already. It's not classy, you know.
It's as classy as Butlins and Pontins. Good.
Same company.
Okay. So I'm.
It's a good thing they're the same company, otherwise we would have thrown away a whole industry of sponsors.
Yeah. I worked there for 2 years. Ask me anything.
Oh, you're the insider knowledge. All right, that might leverage.
Yeah.
Okay, so, a trait for this scene, given that this is on her turf, is that she feels secure too. So it's going to increase the difficulty by 2 because she is secure on her own turf. So anything you can bring to mitigate would be wise, I suggest. If you can leverage a trait. Flying in, there is a personal helipad space for the ornithopter. You can settle it down. Actually, to start and give you an opportunity to build momentum, let's do a move test for you getting yourself from Elysium to Haven. Who's doing that? Again, you still haven't got Victor, so.
Oh, I can do it again with an assist.
You've been doing the best at that, I think, for William. And then I'll assist if you're okay with that.
Yeah, awesome. Can we do this as a stealthy? Because we don't want to broadcast that we're going to our place, right?
You definitely don't. You definitely don't, especially from Talia's point of view. She wants you to be discreet. So yes, I mean, you would have logged a flight plan and have specified as much the parameters as you could do, and you would want to make the most of that flight plan so that you could arrive, from the most discreet vector. So yeah, you can use stealth.
Okay, and let me just check: is this the woman who is a secret spice addict?
She is.
Yeah. And did Blake tell us that? Or did you keep that to yourself?
I think I would have told you. There's no real reason to keep it secret from the upper management, as it were.
Right, awesome. Then I'm going to use move. I'm going to use my power comes at a knife's edge, because I see this as a chance for us to steal or, show our power if we can get away with anything. So I get the first, because we're going stealthy, I get the first D20 extra free.
Nice.
And we don't have any momentum. I'll give you one threat for a extra dice for 4.
Thank you.
Just check what can I use? And I'm using stealth as a focus.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a D1.
Get 3. Cool. Get 3 and hopefully.
Do you even need the help? Yeah.
Yeah, for momentum if you get it.
Well, let's see what the dice have to say about this.
Yeah, there's always a chance for a complication.
And there's always a chance for complications, right? I mean,
yeah.
he does have a focus of swift when it comes to his movement
nice.
for moving. So he will be using with a focus as well.
Hey!
Oh, and I got one.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So eventually,
there we go.
The odds are in his favor. So we get another one then. So
brilliant.
Great. So momentum has been built as you. Well, tell me, William. What's the optimal way in which you sort of approach?
Well, this time we don't have the artist with us. It's just us chaps. So William is a little bit more, not reckless, but a little bit more, shows off a little bit more.
Nice.
Fly, quick, and same I think to do it stealthy, we go really low over the seas. We don't go into radars and whatever.
Yeah, we don't have the cover of night for this one, so we have to stay low.
Yeah.
I try to get low enough so that Blake's fancy robes get a bit damp at the side of the open door. Whoop, nearly fell out.
Absolutely. So we have this fast-paced sequence of the ornithopter flying so low that the almost sort of like the shock wave of the speed of the movement of the vehicle is bringing up sort of like spray as you really are sort of like flying sort of like low enough to sort of like scoop up as much water as you like, and sort of like banking sort of like elegantly and at the last minute to directly arrive at the pad for the ornithopter, sort of flying in low over the sort of like waving sort of tropical like trees, and sort of touch down crisply, and the ornithopter sort of like goes into its resting sort of like dormant mode once you sort of like touch down, and heading over towards you in a crisp teal and blue uniform is this hulking, dark-skinned man who carries himself with a surety. You notice he has a personal shield in place and a sheathed sword, and he's there to greet you as you flip the switches of the ornithopter and place it into its resting mode.
Handbrake.
Yeah. As you step down out of the vehicle, he doesn't salute as such, but there's a polite, diffident nod and acknowledgement, and he is very businesslike. He introduces himself as Darian, and that he is the sort of head of security for Anniversarian, and he invites you to follow him into her complex and say, that Mistress Anna is expecting you.
Wonderful. So is everyone coming with me, or?
I am.
Sure.
Incredible. We sent a delegation. She's important, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll go on there in front, trying to move as gracefully as possible and not jangling all my jewellery. Just flowing robes. Like that Russian dance you always see on Reddit where they move their feet so fast it looks like they're floating.
I know the one you mean. Yeah. Yeah, and as you sort of like glide imperturbably, through this sort of like, there's this meandering path that leads down from the ornithopter pad into a sort of like lowered, lush, verdant area, carefully manicured gardens. Sat in the middle of it is this, again, very elegant, think kind of Japanese style architecture, but very refined and stripped back. And sat out on the veranda, clearly expecting you, is the figure of Anniversarian, looking very relaxed. Outdoor furniture laid out on this sort of like veranda come patio space. Stood next to her looks like a member of Starver House, servant of some kind, and she is sat in very elegant couture, with a sort of like a martini style glass in her hand. Laid out is a little spread of breakfast that she appears to have finished. She just sort of like folds this napkin and places it down. She doesn't stand up, but she takes you all in as you are escorted up by Darian to where she sits.
What's her title?
She is a scion of the House of Visarion.
I'll refer to her as that then and introduce everybody, as is customary, by name and title.
Oh, do please tell us how you name everybody, because I'm interested to hear how you present yourselves to her.
I'll be like, I am Envoy Smurk. Here is Mentat Corrado.
Bow.
No Elric. What would I introduce William as? Because I might not want to say this is our infiltrator.
Yeah, exactly, that's why I asked you.
Assistant.
Assistant Turosh.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Marlo. Security.
They'll sort of give a nod to Milady and to kind of like give us kind of a side eye to the hulking brute with the sword, to kind of like sizing him up as well.
Actually, I might introduce William as Secretary Turosh.
There you go.
Give him a big notepad.
Yeah, take it.
Very nice. Okay. And she rises a little in her seat, and she then stands gracefully. She has sort of like flowing limbs. She's very elegantly dressed, sort of like earrings and a little discreet sort of like jewelry. It's not a dig at you. Well, it is a dig at you. Very discreet jewelry in comparison to Smurk. And you can see that she has this sort of spice-related blueness to her eyes, and she's quite pale, dark black hair in a bob that is very almost scripted and coutured, and very elegant sort of like fingernails and little discreet sort of like polish, again in the same colour of the house. And she sort of inclines her head to one side and says, I must admit I was intrigued by the request. I'm curious to know why I in particular was approached.
Well, as you know, Scion Visarion, this is a very big event with some very prestigious guests, and it is important for us to ensure the security and comfort of all our guests. From the Emperor all the way down to the minor houses.
Her personal bodyguard, Darian, stands a discreet distance behind her and places his hand on the hilt of his sword. And she narrows her eyes. She says, well, I'm going to be frank. This is a social conflict potential sort of like situation. So I am going to, I'm going to give you the first turn, Blake, after that little opener. Now, in a potential social intrigue situation, you've got a number of different options. Now, you could go in with the equivalent of an attack. It's an attack through conversation. There's no physical attacking sort of like going on. But I would commend you more to do a move action, which is more about sort of like trying to create momentum. Even though you've got some, you can build some more and sort of like get her off balance, really.
That's kind of what I was sort of hoping for. Like, go for the probing thing and
yeah, I mean,
make her think that we're thinking hard about security, and that's you.
Yeah. Yeah. But you have the first turn here, and you can do a move either subtly or boldly. And we're still learning the way that sort of like conflict and different sort of like mechanisms work. So I would recommend maybe a more subtle move. So it sounds like what you were going for anyway. if you're moving an asset sort of like subtly, this is more about you sort of like making implications, a bit of sort of like innuendo, sort of like some insinuations.
Absolutely.
The advantage of doing it subtly is that hopefully, if you're successful, you're able to keep the initiative. It won't cost you any momentum to do that, which means that you get automatically another action, although it is more difficult. It means that you might set things up really to do a bit of a probing sort of communication attack.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. I just want to make it out that we're here, we're up to something, and we're in charge. It's not you. You're on our planet. It might be your island, but
Okay.
You're coming to our event. That's where the goodies are.
Okay, so it's going to be a communication skill that you're using.
Okay.
And then, think about what drive might work with that. What focuses you have.
Is this diplomacy when it's like an opener for blackmail?
Yeah, it could be veiled in diplomacy. You're being subtle. You started off well. We're just looking after all our guests. It is being sort of like diplomatic. You're being cordial. So yes, you could use diplomacy here. It might be a veil, but that's the art of subtlety.
So if I go with drive and statements, if we go through that as well.
Yeah, go
so
for it.
I could use truth because my statement is truth as a currency and therefore as a price.
Perfect. I love it.
So, and then we get to how many dice.
Now you have got some momentum in the pool.
Do I know the difficulty before I choose my momentum?
Well, now what we kind of have to think of is the disposition here, and
Now, can I ask? Is this isn't just a simple one roll? This is going to be an extended.
It is
test,
going
or
to be
this a simple.
It's going to be extended, yeah.
Okay.
Because she is not a minor character who can be readily put in her social place or defeated in one action, yeah. And
So we have to get a number of successes before we basically succeed at this. Is how this conflict works, if I'm understanding this right.
Yeah, the requirement is based on her discipline.
And just so Blake knows what we're rolling, like what we're doing. It's not just a one roll for this. We're gonna take it in turns to kind of roll back and forth.
Absolutely, there'll be a bit of back and forth. So if you can hold the turn and the advantage for as long as possible, that's better. So if you do a move, it'll start to put on a back foot. If you do it subtly, you got a chance to keep hold of the initiative and keep things going. Yeah.
Or if you do it boldly, you may get her to
momentum on the table for now instead of like.
We may not want to spend it all as.
Okay.
If you do a move boldly, you may
go.
get her to like admit something.
Yeah. No, I just want a probe to start with, and then I'll give it the hammer in a minute.
The opening volley, kind of like a salvo, just kind of like.
It's just posturing right now. But for traits, could that like lower the difficulty?
Yes, it could, because remember she's on her home territory. That makes everything +2 difficult. So if you've got a trait that...
I'm thinking I could use determination to create a trait, but I had one and now it's gone out of my head. Something on the line. But maybe it's like what I was saying earlier, like the trait that we've got something she wants and she can't get it without our favour. Is that a trait?
Is that a trait you've got? You can either leverage your personal traits, or if you're in alignment with the house goal, you can leverage one of the house obscura traits. If you can make the case for them.
Also, I was thinking of using determination to create one.
Yes, you could, but you might already have one that would work.
I see. So, house traits.
Because it's a conflict, you can also create a trait as a result of a roll, correct?
Yes.
Well, I'm unflappable and savvy, so I'll just go with that, I think.
I think that really fits, yeah. Because you've
so
already got the security guy being a bit passive aggressive behind her, and you are holding stalwart in the face of that. So it's a difficulty
Yeah, it's
+2. She is unfriendly towards you, which gives her an extra +1. Now, what would you say would be your group's disposition towards Anniversarian? I mean, I think you're probably neutral, but I'll hear arguments for others' stances.
I don't think anybody here is hostile towards her, not like aggressively. Sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'd just be trying to be professional, I guess, more than anything.
The next level is unfriendly. Would be.
Yeah, I don't think.
Would we?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
I don't know if we'd be unfriendly. No.
No, I think you're neutral is the
so.
best interpretation of the sort of disposition of the group.
Yeah, it can always change, can't it? If
It
we
can.
start to get unfriendly or whatever. So
Oh yeah.
for now, we're only going to speak to her and try to, keep it professional, like you say.
I mean, for all we know, Talia was making
It's done it.
bizarre accusations.
Oh,
Exactly.
nice. Okay.
Well done, Blake.
Oh wow. Okay, so this was. Let me have a look. It's always helpful to check it. Now, you did leverage your personal trait, which lowered the difficulty down. She's got +3 because of the circumstances and her being unfriendly. That's lowered to +2. This was a difficulty level of 2, so it was 4. And what have you got?
Two 12s. Well,
2 12s.
2-6.
Yeah. So 2 successes, but afraid you needed 4. So now you can mitigate against this, because your move is not being successful sort of like right now. You can spend momentum potentially for a reroll, I believe.
right. So if I re-roll it though, I can't. Does that add on to these 2 successes? Because I'd still only have 2 as a
No.
maximum, surely, if I did that.
Yeah. I mean, you can also, don't forget, spend a determination for a crit. So you could have done that if you knew you needed 4 successes.
Yeah,
And you've only got 2 dice. You're not going to roll.
No.
Well, you might roll 2 crits.
You really
No,
need.
I didn't.
You
I
really,
didn't know when the questions ended and it rolled the dice when I was going through the.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Really, you needed to hear what the difficulty was before you committed to the roll, because then that would affect your dice pool. So, I'm going to apply some learning latitude here. We're
Okay.
still sort of like learning. So, now that you know that you've got a difficulty 4 task, do you want to have another crack at it? I'll give you a free mulligan.
Okay, so how can I get 4 possible successes then? I could use 2 determination for 2 crits.
Yeah.
That's one
You
way.
spend momentum for extra dice.
Yep.
Or threat for extra dice.
So what is it
Can
exactly
you
you're
assist in a
trying to do?
conflict?
Yeah.
And what is it that you're trying to do at this point? Just put her off balance?
Yeah. That's what I was
I don't
going
know if
for.
the house trait of discreet would be applicable, because it's almost the opposite in some sense.
I just straight up need more dice, I think.
Well,
I mean, you could
a
you could
difficulty
use
4 is
discreet, right?
hard.
Because you're not broadcasting it. We've come to a private meeting.
Sure.
We're not like in front of all our pals and whatever. There's only this fella here. I think you could use discreet, couldn't you?
I'm ruling that you can use discreet. I take your meaning sort of like Tiran, but he's going for a subtle. It's insinuation. It's sort of like innuendo.
Gotcha.
You know, and being discreet is
What
not.
would that do though? Would that lower the
That gets
difficulty,
you down
or
to 3, right?
it makes it so I just need 3 successes?
Hang on a minute. Yeah, so yeah, but we've already done that. I've already lowered it. You've already lowered it by leveraging
So
your
it's still
trait
4.
of discreet. So it's still 4, I'm afraid.
Well,
Wait, we
well,
was
can
it
you use
discreet
more
or-
than? Yeah, one's
No,
the
he
house
used-
trait,
He
discreet.
used,
One was
he
his
used the
trait.
One's a personality
trait, yeah.
trait and one's a house trait.
Oh, if you've got more than one trait, then certainly you can lower it even further. Yeah, I wasn't
'Cause
clear on
one
that.
was unflappable. He was using.
Yeah.
Did we decide unflappable was applicable?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
unflappable and now discreet, so
So we
that
got-
would get us down
Yeah.
from 5 to 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got my balloons going. Excellent. Celebrate. Yeah, so we're down to 3 with the leveraging of those 2 traits. Excellent. So you got 2 dice automatically, but maybe you want another one still, because the more successes you get, the more potential momentum
1 point
you
of momentum,
build.
give you 3 dice to try to get 3 successes.
Yeah.
That's not a
Yeah.
bad idea.
So
Especially
I
with-
could use 2 momentum and a threat, and then I'd have 4 dice, maybe. Would that give me 2 extra, right?
No, it's 1. Your first extra dice is 1 momentum,
Yeah.
and then the other 2
Second
momentum
would be 2.
is second extra dice. So if you burn 3 momentum,
Sure, but you
you'd
could
have-
spend 1 threat for the first
Yeah,
one
and
instead.
keep 1
and then
momentum,
2
so I've
momentum.
got 1 ready to use my ability if that comes into.
Cool.
Alright, so I need to go through all the buttons again.
Yay!
Communicate, truth, 4 dice. Yes, focus.
Oh.
3.
3 successes.
Just made it.
Just is that narrowly avoiding a complication there?
18 and 19, yeah.
Oof, okay. Yeah, but 3 successes.
Almost step on your words, but
Yeah. But you get
Now,
what you want, but you don't get any momentum because you just meet it.
Well- can we assist though?
Yes, I think you can in a conflict. No, in a
Did you
conflict
take the
situation.
threat, or shall I put you one out?
I'm not sure in a conflict situation, sort of like in Free Go, but
Okay.
Steve, can they do a support role in a conflict?
you can support. It's like in conflict, like if in combat, they can direct him to go someplace else, or they can help them with. They don't even have to use the same skill. They can use their
That's great.
own version
That's great.
of what they would do.
Great. So, yeah, how might you wish to support William as this tense opening salvo is being delivered?
Just keep in mind, you may want to keep 1 momentum so that we can keep the initiative and go again, rather than.
Well, he's done a subtle move, so it won't cost
Let
any
them have a
momentum. Right.
Oh, great! Even better.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that.
Does it cost someone a momentum to assist? No, there'd be no point.
No, no.
So it doesn't hurt to do an assist because you might get an extra momentum.
It doesn't as long as you don't
Um,
complicate it.
But if there's a complicate, we all share in the complications. We
Yes.
all share in the success or the failure of it. Yeah.
So I'd like to observe her body language, which I have a focus in or understand.
Excellent. Go for it. And then, William, what are you going to want to do in your support?
Well, I think narratively wise, I would just be like, backing him up. I've still got my clipboard out,
Okay.
writing stuff down. So
Yeah.
you tell me what kind of skill that would be to I guess it's a subtle intimidation, kind of. That's if there's such a thing. Oh, look at that. Great.
Excellent. That's a
Beautiful.
nice bit of support there from the observation of understanding from Tiran. I mean, yours is more like sort of like your physical presence.
Yeah,
How you're
maybe, yeah.
positioning yourself. That could be. This is it's a social conflict, but it's the tactics of where you're positioning yourself. I think it's battle.
Battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should I
battle-
grab 2 momentum for that?
Yeah.
We'd already.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's all gravy here.
I'm going to use my power again. Can I use also observe as a focus? Because I'm still keeping an eye on her body language and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I guess so you're positioning yourself sort of like tactically so that she can be aware of you, but also you can sort of like interdict between yourself and where Blake is with the bodyguard and be eyeballing him too. Yeah, you can use that.
But it's only one dice, isn't it, for an assist?
It is one dice, yeah.
Let's see. Let's focus.
Oh, nice one.
Another
Nice
momentum, cool.
Yeah, all the momentum. All of the time. That's what we want.
And is there a limit on how many of us can assist?
Heck, I don't know.
I think it has to be it has to be narratively logical.
Plausible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, the GM can put the Shadout Mapes here can put a kibosh on how many people can assist.
Well, I think sort of like in this moment, you're in a relatively open area. It depends on how you're assisting. You've got William doing the subtle maneuvering where he's placing himself. You've got Tiran who's really scrutinizing and leaning into his empath analyst sort of like thing. If you can give me a good case, for how you might do something to support, then I'll hear it out.
Well, that's for other than trying to, he has a specialty in intimidation, and sort of like squaring off with the bodyguard that they have there to kind of like you keep that little sword of yours in your sheath,
I think you could back up William, because William is this slight. I picture him as a sort of like slight background character, and you could just sort of like shade up behind him and be intimidating on top of that. So yeah, I mean, you're deploying battle, albeit in a social context,
right.
But what
the threat of violence is often
more potent than violence itself. Yes,
right.
I believe we've heard that quote before.
Yes. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I'm going to use his duty of he's willing to shed blood for his house, my blood for my house.
Okay. Yeah.
That's good. I think you're like neutralizing the other body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go on.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Okay, so excellent.
Finally found something I do well.
You do that well, yeah. You cut a fine jib. Have you got all the momentum from that gathered together?
Yeah, I've just put that one.
I think that caps us up.
Yeah, it does. Now, because you did a successful, subtle move. Now, actually, I wasn't too clear. Is it move an asset in a social conflict is opposed, right? That's what I'm just thinking. Or is it a difficulty for success? Because it wasn't clear to me in the rules. What do you think, Steve?
It's a opposed. The first one is if it's going to be a move roll, like in the skirmish rules, and the same. I'm just learning the intrigue rules as well. As I understand it, it's an opposed roll.
Okay, yeah.
Not a.
So I should have done
a total of.
I should have done the opposition to set the difficulty level beforehand. Rather than go back through that again, I'm gonna
say that's what they rolled, and
that's what they rolled, and that's what we got, and I'll learn
that's
for
what
next
they rolled,
time.
And move on from there.
Yeah. So the subtle move does mean that you don't have to spend momentum to keep the initiative, But tell me how it is, Blake, that your subtle digs are bearing fruit. What's the bottom line for how you successfully communicate this to Anna?
So yeah, I'm trying to get her from being the smug in charge scion from a greater house to being more like the naughty child that's about to get told off sort of thing. I was just trying to change the balance of power, ready for the big guns, as it were.
And I think you see, she was so she seems smugly confident in herself and her sort of like position. She's a noble who isn't used to being challenged. She felt secure in her territory. And so, your sudden unified team sense of force and determination in a social sense has really wrong-footed her. So now you have kept the initiative. You can deploy another action, as you've got the advantage and you've got all that momentum now. So you could do another move. You could use an asset, or you could try a bit of a social attack and sort of like go in for a bit of a jab at her. Now this is an extended action, and she's quite disciplined. This lady. In fact, I'll let you know. She's got a discipline of 6, so that's the requirement. It's going to be a sustained back and forth to defeat her, sort of like socially, and meet that requirement.
Okay, so that doesn't mean you got to get 6 successes in one roll then.
No.
Okay.
Because you're going to score 2.
Do you mind?
Plus the quality of any asset you sort of like deploy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what are you thinking, Steve?
No, just want to make sure that we have to probably get 3. Each successful task is going to give us 2 points towards that requirement of 6.
Yeah.
So we've got to win at least 3 different skill challenges against her. Like we went 3 different rolls like that. That was the first one. We got at least 2 more. Is probably what we're. You could probably make an asset now with the momentum we have. You may want to pull out the stops of like, hey, we've got a recording of something, or we would hate to, some, I don't know what, but something that would threaten her. Some kind of asset that would threaten her.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got an asset, haven't you? You've got some.
Yeah, I've got the asset.
So
ready.
You could use
so when would that
asset.
Sure. So what I'd like to do is to explain to her that for the security of herself and our guests, it may be best if she doesn't attend the exhibit and instead enjoys one of our many other attractions. And then when she kicks off about it, pull out the asset as like the killing blow sort of thing. But I wouldn't want to lead with it. I would want to tell her what I want first and let her kick off about it, and then hit her. So that was my thought. I'm open to suggestions from people who've drunk less rum.
Yeah. What about supplying her with spice to keep her away? Because we know that's.
If we can do that without causing a scandal, I was going to suggest maybe one of our spicier.
Yeah.
Do we
I seem to not be the one to go to for
results?
subtle suggestions, so I don't know. Maybe somebody else.
Yeah, I mean
we're
we're
full of tourist attractions, aren't we?
So there's got to be somebody here.
That would seem to me quite a bold asset move.
Yes.
I mean, I still have this thing where I can create an asset at no cost, such as her owing us a favour because I tell her that we've got some spice that she can have, even though it's a lie. Is that relevant now?
Maybe. I might have to use my asset to prove that we know that she's addicted to it first, though, before we can offer the drug.
I like trying to lead with the carrot, rather, the favor part of that. Saying, hey, we would take it as a personal favor to avoid it tonight.
Let's try the thing that will definitely not work. Because it's polite, and then we'll hit them with more and more horrible evidence until they agree.
We give them a chance to walk away. At this point now, they've chosen this path because.
Actually, I really like the idea of offering them spice before we prove we know they're addicted to it. It's like really insidious that.
Yeah. Well, actually.
Do you work in law enforcement or?
No, but I have worked in a holiday camp.
We're back to that again. You know, the sponsorship deal is looking more and more
More and more grim.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the consensus here? Because when you keep the initiative, you can hand it over to an ally, I think. If you wanted to hand it over to William to use his Mask of Power ability, or you can continue with another ploy to gain more momentum so that you can come in with an attack, or you can just go straight in with a social attack here. Choices.
Mask of Power seems really well suited to this.
Yeah.
Right, because then we don't even have to go near the thing that Talia would prefer we didn't go near.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still in our back. We can still use it as a trump.
Keep it
yeah,
a nuclear option for
Still
sure.
have a- yeah.
Okay. So sounds like you're keeping the initiative and handing over the baton to William, and it becomes your turn, William.
Yeah.
Nice play.
Right, okay. Okay. And this asset that I'm talking about, although it's a lie,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's a suitcase full of spice back in our place or whatever.
We're in the Ornithopter.
Sure. Now, does this count as moving an asset subtly during a conflict? You know, I'm wording it very discreetly because that's what we're all about.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do it
Oh,
subtly,
okay.
but you're not going to. I think there's a limit to how often you can keep the initiative in a turn.
You can only keep the initiative once.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So then I need to... What happens if you do bold?
So if you do,
you can do subtle or bold, or you can just do...
Yeah, if you do it
You're
bold,
Or you can just do move. Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you do a move boldly
Steve?
or just move, if you do it boldly, then doing it a bit more forcefully might compel a sort of hasty response from your opponent, which might sort of like let slip something about her position and open up a vulnerability potentially.
Okay, and explain to me the how many successes I need for this.
So, building on the fact that I got it wrong last time, I will do, if you tell me what kind of move, subtle or bold, I will do the opposition first, and that will give you the difficulty level for your success.
Is it more difficult if I choose bold over just regular?
No.
Okay, well, let's do bold then and see what happens.
Yeah, go bold. Be a bit more sort of like direct, cut through the bullshit. I think that kind of like fits with sometimes how William operates. Okay.
I'm definitely the cloud of bullshit, and then you can cut through it.
Yeah. Now she's unfriendly towards you, but you're neutral towards her, so she doesn't get an effect from you, but she does. And she has a trait which makes it more difficult for you. Doesn't make it any easier for her. However, I think she has a talent that she can leverage. Once per seeing when they are doing... No, she can't use that yet. Balls. She might be able to use that later. I've got a lot of threat floating around. But I think I'm going to hold on to that for when things become a bit more
That was a really good way to build tension, because now I'm like, she's got something.
Yeah, she has, but she can't use it right now, but I can hold it on for later, mate. So... Yeah, she is going to defend herself. She's going to defend herself with discipline, and she's going to deploy her focus of I think she's going to deploy the focus of Can Lee. She knows how the laws of vendetta, and she knows all the legal arguments for sort of like conflict. She starts to lean into more, you start messing on my territory, then I'm going to start, intimating that her bodyguard, it's going to go badly for you if you start to piss her off. That's her defense. And her drive here is power. her statement is possession is 9/10 of the law. She's going to lean into her power. You're on her territory here. Not only does she inhabit this island, she owns this island. She bought this island, which you weren't aware of. You just knew that she was situated here. And so she's playing that card as well. So I am going with discipline. She is using power. I'm going to spend one trait for one more dice, 2 more trait for another dice, so she gets 4.
Your traits give you dice?
Threat.
I think you meant.
Sorry, I meant threat. It's because I saw the
Okay.
word
Okay.
T
It's okay.
and I used the wrong one.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
So that sets the difficulty
Okay.
level for you.
Right. Okay. So I need 4 successes, and you've spent what,
Yeah.
3 for that?
Yeah, I'm trying to take it off, but I'm just battling
Okay.
roll 20. You
Okay.
know what it's like.
You got this. You got this one.
So I'm doing.
Her disposition makes it harder, +1, and the situation makes it harder. So, what?
So I need 7 successes.
Fucking hell. Doesn't it tap out?
Well, at this
Well, I
point,
can-
the 4 is what she's trying to get. You're trying to beat
Yeah.
4 successes.
So because that's
Her-
just her defense.
Yeah,
So we're
roll
not-
I get you.
is what
Yeah.
it's set
If
for you.
it was a
So we
non-opposed
just did that
roll,
part, yeah.
yeah, I get you.
If it's a non-opposed, yeah, it's different.
Learning.
Right. So. So
Just trying to get 4 or better.
Yeah.
right. So, is this where I can use personality traits to bring this down?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So, and can you use more than one if you've got more than one that's relevant?
If they apply, yeah, and we agree they apply. It's cool.
So, and this is to like
Boldly.
invite her that we've got a load of spice that she can have.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking as personality traits, I've got infiltrator, loyal, and ruthless. I think maybe ruthless because
You are being. You're tapping into what you know
Yeah.
about her vulnerability, that she's an addict.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I use that, and I use the house trait of discreet. Because again, we've come here, we're not broadcasting it, we haven't like gone up to her in a pub and been like, oh, there's a big suitcase full of spice.
I definitely buy the ruthless. Given that you're doing this as a bold move, I think you are being deferential in that you're not doing it in public. So yeah, okay, 2 off, so you get to 2.
I need 2 successes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now remind me what the actual skill I was doing way back when
Just
we
communicate.
started talking about it. It's a communication skill. I'm going to use my power
Yeah.
because, I am.
Makes sense.
Also, do an assist on this one
Yeah.
by laying out that
And we've got
maybe
plenty of momentum to buy a couple of extra dice with that
Yeah.
as well.
I'll lay
And,
out that maybe art galleries are actually kind of boring, and it'd be better for you to go and enjoy a nice evening with
Definitely.
the asset
Yeah.
rather than
Right.
turn up to this terrible
Yeah.
exhibit
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
probably don't want to go to anyway.
Okay. So
Yeah, maybe not. But you know what I mean.
She's such a fan, die hard. She desperately wants to go there, so
All right, a different angle then. Maybe I'll make it clear that she's not welcome to go to our exhibit of these pictures, and maybe it'd be better off her doing it on another planet with another house,
Woo!
another exhibition.
All right.
nice.
I like it. Anyway, yeah.
So I'm
good.
going to spend 1 momentum for another dice,
Sweet.
and then 2 momentum for an extra dice. That's 4 dice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then can I use a focus of observe again, because I'm watching her and watching the bodyguard as well. I don't want him to.
Yeah. No, I think sort of like reading her
Well, I
reaction.
kind of
at
hope
this
he
moment.
does, but it's okay.
Yeah. You do. I think
Okay,
you carefully.
Here we go.
Oh! Yeah,
6
out well.
and Blake's assist.
Like, you doing anything?
Right, so how do I do the assist? Is it just a
You roll
normal
one when it asks you how many dice you're gonna roll. It's 1.
one? So let's go with.
Sorry,
communication.
JF, I wasn't trying to step on you.
No, that's. If you
One
can save me saying something by saying it.
Nice.
Another one. If I
Nice.
chuck that in as well.
nice.
So
you
we
can't
can-
get any
because
more
we're-
momentum than that because you've over the cap there, so you need to take one off.
Yeah, but you can immediately use it, right? So if I use it immediately, I'm not stacking it up because we've got 7 at the moment, right?
I think the rule is you've got a maximum of 6. I think is the rule.
Pretty sure. I hate to.
Oh.
wanna
I get up to 6
limit our own
points can
stuff,
be
but I think-
saved in a
yeah.
pool. I get that.
Yeah.
But when you generate it and you're over the pool, you can
Well, I don't
use
know
it
that.
immediately, right?
No, I don't know that. You might be right, but I don't know that. When it
Burn
comes
it
to
immediately to
momentum.
create an asset, or you do something for it. I don't know.
Let me have a quick squiz at momentum and see what it kind of implies. But yeah.
But outstanding
Bonus
roll. That
momentum.
was great.
Bonus
Which you
momentum
can-
differs from
okay.
normal momentum in that it cannot be saved into the group pool. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Whenever you score more successes than you needed on a skill test, each extra success becomes momentum, and you can spend to improve the outcome of the skill test you've just passed.
Woo!
Any momentum you don't spend can be saved
Yeah.
and goes into a group pool. So you can spend more. You can spend the extra momentum on improving the result of the roll we just had. But
And
that's
we're
the
already beating it by 3, and you can burn that one immediately to improve that.
Yep, looks like
Right,
we've
yeah,
got that. I
okay.
see that on page 151.
51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not meaning to be
So-
awkward. I just don't know the rules, so helpful to.
No, this is we're all learning, so everybody can learn along with us.
Yeah. So looks like you're good
You're
to go
welcome,
with.
Modifius.
Yeah. Spending the excess in the moment and keeping 6 in the pool. What would you like to do with it?
Right. So this is an attack, right?
No, it's
I've done.
I thought it was a
That was
bold
the
move.
You move boldly.
Yeah.
So what is the outcome of that mechanically? What apart from generating momentum, what else happens?
So
We force her to move one of her assets, correct?
yeah.
Because it was bold.
Correct. Where you pick where it's moved. Basically, you can decide. You say, "Hey, I want her to disclose something." Maybe she admits that she's a spice addict, or you can.
Or maybe she
know.
gets really angry with one of us. Maybe she gets.
She blows her cool. She
Yeah.
loses her.
Yeah,
You know,
she loses her
loses
temper.
her- yeah.
And
whatever you want to
And
choose.
mechanically-
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That
Or,
sounds
or,
fun.
or
Yeah,
even if
absolutely.
it's moving an asset, her bodyguard is an asset. So you might want to
Yeah,
say,
can we just
back him off,
get that guy out? Yeah.
which would fit with your posture earlier. So it's your choice
Sure.
if you're. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I would do that then. I don't want that fella listening into our private conversation. Please send him out. Point at Dolph Lundgren over there. Get her to get rid of that guy. So I bend that extra momentum.
Yes.
Nice.
And she just, she just sort of like dismisses Darian with a gesture, because she wants to keep this discreet. She doesn't want her business to be known by anyone, including her bodyguard, and he steps back and then he steps off the veranda. He doesn't go too far away, But he's a zone away effectively as he sort of like stepped off into the sort of like front lawn, and he looks fucking livid, really, that this has happened, but he can't question his boss. So you just see him pacing up and down on the lawn, looking hacked off. Nice.
Outstanding.
But now,
And that's 2 more towards the requirement, correct?
yes, absolutely. So what have we got in terms of requirement?
Okay, hang on.
If it's
So
a
that's
move,
why we're asking.
I don't think a move. I don't think
Yeah,
a
it has to
move.
be an
It
attack.
has to be an
No, it doesn't.
attack. A
Yeah,
move,
that's
move
right.
just sets you up
Cool.
into a better position. The attack actually does the requirement. So we haven't gone
Damage.
anywhere towards requirement yet, but you've got a stack of momentum.
We haven't done any towards the
No,
requirement then.
but you've removed
No.
an asset off the field that she can't use now. And
We brought in the asset of the made-up spice.
you have,
suitcase.
yeah,
Empty
absolutely.
brief.
Yeah, but then you've got a backup asset of real leverage against her.
Sure.
So it's
Right.
looking much better for you overall.
It's got to be time for an attack, isn't it?
Well, unfortunately,
But it's actually her turn.
it's her turn now because she can't keep the initiative any longer, so it's her turn. So she sort of like leans forward. Now I think this is where I can leverage her talent. She's going to do a move. She's lost a bodyguard asset. But she's going to communicate. It's going to be a subtle move, I think. So this is a communicate skill on her part. She's going to leverage her diplomacy. Building into that as a personal trait. She's going to leverage the fact that she has nobility. Do you know who I am? She's going to employ her power because you're sat on her land. Get off my land. But this is an opposed test, and she's going to do it against. Well, you were the one to bring up the subject of spice, so she's going to do it up against you, William. So you need to set the difficulty rating by effectively defending against this with. Typically, it's a discipline, but you can argue for others.
No, I'll take discipline.
All right.
Do I take discipline?
Yep.
I'm going to take power because. Come on, bit jam wrestle me.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. It's a verbal sparring and body language
Yeah.
going on here.
And can I still? Oh no, I don't need to. Personality trace isn't relevant for this, is it? It's just how many dice and whether I can use a focus.
Yeah.
So, how much have we got? Momentum. I'll use 1 for an extra dice, and then 2 more for an extra dice to get 4 dice in total.
All right.
Can I still use my observe as a focus?
Yeah,
It's
keeping
just
your
that,
eyeballs on
actually,
her. I mean, you're seeing her
Yeah.
little, because you won that last one. You could have spent momentum to gain extra information about what you observed, but you're wondering whether or not her addiction is starting to get the better of her here, but she's doing a very good job of covering it up.
She's jonesing. I don't see like
maybe.
a tray of spice on the side.
She appears to be more disciplined than you thought.
4, so that's the
4
level.
successes.
Yeah, so she.
That's the level that
beautiful,
she
right?
needs with her subtle move. Okay.
She's gonna beat 4.
Yeah, watch me
Well done.
spend that second threat now. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna spend 1 for an extra dice and 2 for another one, so I get 2 dice. And then she's doing her communicate. She's using power. Yeah, okay, I might be able to leverage that. How many dice? So it's now 4. Oh, well, that's as good as it's going to get. Using a focus.
4.
4. Wow, she made it. Yeah, so she very delicately starts to break it down for Elite. You know, she does the whole, do you know who I am? I am, you know, the heir in waiting of my house. We may not be entirely what we once were, but we do have the ear of the Emperor. How dare you suggest to me that you and your group that I should go elsewheres when I have been a loyal patron of the arts for so many years and a dedicated follower of the Imperial artist, despite the fact that she's never managed to capitalize on her abilities. Without me, she would be nothing. So she's successful in a subtle move. She keeps the initiative and she goes in for an attack, but she doesn't get anything out of that momentum wise. But she is going to make an attack on you, sort of like William. I think she feels forced into a corner a bit here. But this is more difficult because she's keeping the initiative. But at least I don't have to spend any threat that I don't have. But did she gain any momentum out of that? She can't kick in.
No, she didn't.
No,
She needed 4 and she got 4.
she didn't. So I can't leverage that talent. Annoying. All I needed was one little bit. Just needed a crit there. Never mind.
That's a move. Does she move an asset in? Is that how it works?
That's a good point.
She could, but wouldn't that be a turn like a move? She's done this.
I just want to look at the outcome of the intrigue subtle move.
Oh yeah, I didn't move an asset with my subtle move, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, any help most welcome as I flip desperately through pages of rules.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm looking at page 186. The movement in an intrigue, actions and intrigue, move an asset subtly.
Just says you may choose to try and gain an additional benefit. You may tend to move in a subtle way.
Creating a situation where your opponent may not know what you're implying until it's sort of like
if you pass, then you move your assets and you reduce the cost to keep the initiative to 0. Your subtlety allows you to act again before your enemy can react.
Which is what she's getting as the outcome of this, right? So I guess she's really, I mean, this is an intangible lesser, you know, it's the dialogue that you're having more than her moving anything sort of like physically, but, you know, you've tried to basically tempt her with drugs, and she's battered that back and say that she should be going to this, and she's just sort of like pushed that all away and sort of like resisted it, and then communicated that, you know, that you can't, because of her power and her status and nobility, you can't use these crude methods against her. So she's holding her own fort, and now she's going in for an attack, a social attack. Again, she's targeting you, William. She's pressing her advantage here, so you need to set the difficulty level by, because it's an opposed roll. You can.
Does she just?
She's doing an attack.
Is it different when it's an attack?
No, it's still. We've done them.
Opposed, okay.
It's still opposed. It's very much opposed in attack. Yeah, you need to set the difficulty rating by using either discipline or communicate in your response.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to use discipline. Power again. I'll use... Oh, I'm just going to use them. I'm sure we'll get them back.
We'll get them
I'll
back.
use those for 2 extra dice, so 4 dice. I'll use focus again if that's still cool for like... I mean, I also have focus evasive action if that's relevant. It's more of battle, but if that's relevant, I'll use that.
What was the other one you were suggesting? I think you observing really tightly because you're trying to look out, I guess, for changes of her clearly being an adduct. So you can go, aha! You know, or just get the confidence of knowing she really is addicted because it's been alleged that she's addicted, but...
6 successes. If you need 6.
Really good at role playing tonight.
Fucking hell.
I know.
You know, I don't think she's going to be
Baffled in the
successful
middle,
at
though.
this. Yeah, well, it's worth it.
It's going to be tricky to do with just 2 dice and no threat to buy more dice.
No threat.
Yeah, I think she's
Well,
on a real loser here.
Pretty much can't.
You can give us some momentum if you want to.
Extra dice. Can you?
Does that work?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Not in the
But,
book.
No.
No, I don't think
It's a
so.
thing.
Okay, well,
So she can't do it, right? Even if she gets crits.
yeah, but I'm still going to roll because complications are potentially useful.
Yeah, cool, okay.
You know, I mean, it's looking bad for her, but anyway, she goes in on the attack. But you know, you've removed an asset. You've got momentum sort of like here, and you're solid in your sort of defense, sort of like William, surprisingly sort of like resilient. Again, she's keeps going with the whole power and authority sort of like arguments and deploying her diplomacy skills. Okay, what did we get there?
3.
Yeah, she got 3, so she didn't do too bad, bless her. But basically, she failed the contest. If you fail your contest, it may lead to the target seeking to avenge such a slight, which could include a challenge to single combat if they are of a militant inclination.
Slap her.
Demand satisfaction.
I demand you duel my bodyguard.
Well,
Yeah.
Right. Once you bring your lump back over here, I'll slit him in half, and then you're going to do what we say.
He's got a lot of pent-up aggression.
Oh, the chance to stab something. No, I tease.
I mean, she has
There's been
failed.
so much injury.
Yeah, she's failed utterly to sort of like to really
Rattle herself.
to rattle you at all. And you know, and she's sort of like falling into more, you know, her diplomacy is failing here. She's getting more and more sort of like irate and falling to, you know, getting cruder and less sort of sophisticated in how she's sort of like handling this. If you fail your contest, it may lead to the target seeking to avenge such like, you know. So, you know, I think it probably would be beyond the bounds to say that. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, say, listen, you know, if you, we could have an outcome here because she has sort of like failed the social intrigue, that you could turn this into a duel if you wanted. You could ask for satisfaction by saying, my man here will fight your man over there, and if we win, we get what we want, and you do not attend, if you like to go that way. And then Brava gets his wish.
I mean, I know Brava. I know this is what he's waiting for.
Absolutely.
So
And
Does
she
not
has.
please me more, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to side rail anything. I don't want to take you
No,
off the tracks there.
well, it's fun though, isn't it? I mean, William's like,
It's a bit.
If you're down for it, then I
and
absolutely will.
also William wants to divert the attention away from himself, and this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
You'll be remembered as the guy that killed her
Bodyguard.
Sure,
Well,
not you.
Darian, not you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sure. Then I'd say, well, we were just offering you a decent way to save face and not attend of your own accord. But if you want to play it this way, then bring your man to deal with our security.
Would it be possible for me to ask? Oh no, we're not got any momentum, so I can't use my ability. Continue.
Nevertheless.
I mean, hang on, because I can, if it's technically my turn, even though I've sort of had a turn, I don't know if you.
It was
have to
her
do it.
attack. It's not your turn. But she failed
but
it.
She's finished and it's come to me.
It
So-
goes over to your side. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If it was technically still on me, then I would use this to. Once per scene, I may command an ally or subordinate to act.
Ooh.
I mean, if that helps Blake with what he wants to do, would you still need your momentum to do stuff?
It costs momentum to use my skill. So.
Okay. Well, in which case, then maybe I will use this to call Brava in to fight the other guy.
You've already got that, so I don't think you need it really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
At this point, yeah, it's back to us
Yeah.
as the actors. So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And if I'm understanding the rules correctly, everybody has to go at least once before
Yeah.
another player
Start
can go twice in a row.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bend that rule. I'm willing to forgo that too. I mean, for you to
No. I mean, I've
support
got
us.
this option, right, to call Brava to fight your flanking.
That's the outcome of her failing, is that you can call for this to be a fight. And she has to sort of accede to that.
And both sides have to abide by the rules of trial by combat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can say, if you don't want to lose your bodyguard, because you will, then you can just do like we say and don't attend the thing.
She coolly sips at her frosted glass and looks at you, William, with sheer contempt. She says, no matter how discreet you say your house is, you cannot come here and accuse me of the things that you have accused of and expect to get away with it. I will have satisfaction. And she nods and looks over to Darian and says, Darian. And he turns, delight on his face, because he was sent away earlier and thought that was the end of his deployment. And, here, Brava, you see Darian just signal to you, point down to the area of lawn, and then Visarion will looks at you, Tiran, and says, I hope you're not going to add to any further complications to this, Mentat.
I tend to try to resolve complications as opposed to add to them.
Very
A
well.
duel is a duel between two participants.
I respect your training. Perhaps you would be so kind to officiate and ensure that the rules of engagement are appropriately deployed.
Very well.
And we best leave it here, which means that I
think
get
that's
I get to read the rules of dueling over and over again until my head
Dueling
explodes.
rules, yes.
And we'll see how things pan out the next session.
I'll train up between now and then.
As we all will. Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
All right. Talk soon.
All right, fun.
What's a cliffhanger?